Hi, everybody. Todd Dammit Kearns here from Slash featuring Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators. Took Heroes and Monsters. You're watching CMS TV.
And what is up, everybody? I am back. Once again, it is Chris Akin Presents. I, of course, am Chris Akin. He, of course, is Erik Ferentinos. And it is time to waste some time with Chris and Erik. What is going on, my friend? Long time no see.
Man, I'm so excited that you're back, Chris. And I don't. Can you smell that? Do you smell something?
What do I smell?
Let me see. Let me put it a little closer. How about now?
There it is.
We have such a badass show tonight.
You knew the foot was coming back, right?
Oh, yeah, the clown of the foot.
That's right. Well, we do have a great show coming up tonight. In a little while, we have the mighty Joe Stump, the guitarist extraordinaire, that will be joining us to talk about the new Alcatrazz album, Take No Prisoners, which is out on May the 19th. But Joe Stump will be here to talk all about that. And I'm sure you, as a guitar player, might have a question or two for...
Well, it's funny. A lot of people didn't know, but I used to be in an Alcatrazz cover band years ago. And our whole had to drink a 12-pack before we went on stage. And we were called Alcatrazz.
Nice. Yeah. Alcatrazz. Yeah. Well, 2 weeks ago, you performed from Alcatrazz on this show.
That's right. Got some good feedback. I heard everybody enjoyed my fill-in for the first segment 2 weeks ago now. But Exploder.
Yeah, Exploder and Terminator checking in.
He gives his regards.
Too funny, man. So yeah, we will have Alcatrazz on, and then we're going to go a little different direction tonight. We want to kind of start expanding the show a little bit from just music. So we will sort of talk music, but we are going to talk collectibles, not toys, but collectibles, with Tony Simerman, who is the CEO of Knucklebonz Collectibles. Which
do you see this?
I see that. Look at that.
We're the rebel, yeah. They cry more.
Ow!
Ow! Dude, Billy Idol and Steve motherfucking Stevens, baby.
Steve Stevens is awesome. Now, as a guitar player, as somebody that does this for a profession, right, is Steve Stevens one of, if not the most unheralded guy from the 80s?
He's one of those magical guys, you know what I mean? Just like it took a while before people even found out how he did some of the cool sounds on his record and Rebel Yell. He had like a little toy space gun. He'd be like,
yep.
You put it right on the pickup of the guitar.
Yeah, dude, I remember, like, all my friends hated Billy Idol. It was one of those things. All my friends were like in like the whole Van Halen, Doc and Rat camp. Okay. You know, at that time. And then I was weird because I was a little fruity. Like, I listened to a lot of stuff that the girls liked, which, call it fruity all you wanted. The girls came to my house to listen to music where they avoided my friends to listen to their music. So
they were at the Chris Akin dance party after school.
They certainly were. And I had no problem whipping out a Prince record or something to be like, yeah, come on over here there.
Erotic City, come alive.
That's right. Exactly. And be working. Next thing I know, I got a bra off at 14 years old, fucking feeling up a girl.
Were you good at that? Were you good at the bra?
Yes, I was.
I was freaking terrible at that.
I was very good at it right from I just knew that right under there was fucking teenage goodness. And I was like all for it.
It took me like 100 bras before I figured out the different codes.
You never practiced like on your mom's bras or nothing?
Yeah, I practiced on my mom's bra.
I did. I absolutely did. Dude, I
didn't even think to fucking do that. That's weird.
I'm going to tell you how I thought to do this. My mom, of course, kept Cosmo in the bathroom. So in addition to beating off to the Cosmos, you know, I would look at the Cosmos, just kind of looking at Cosmo in the bathroom. And every single issue of Cosmo was a chick sitting in a chair with great tits on a chair, just sitting there.
Right.
And I just got the idea. I was like, well, let's see how that can play. And me being as fruity and pervy as I am, when mom and dad weren't home, I would take one of my mom's bras and I'd put it around a chair. And then I would kind of straddle the chair the other way and practice reaching around doing the bras. So by the time I was 14, I still remember I was 14 years old. And the first time I got to a place where I could actually get a girl's bra off, I was a pro. It was like, it was almost like snapping my fingers. It was like, done.
He's a
And
magic man.
Yep. And I just remember that girl looking at me going, ooh, this guy knows what he's doing.
Right. On bra one, you were that good.
Meanwhile, didn't have a clue from there. You know, that was great as to get the bra off. Then it was like dive, you know, all fucking jumping in full speed without any patience at all.
Full Flirbert mode.
Oh, she was like, I don't know. She came off like a St. Bernard after a fucking 20K, just all slobbered all over. It was a mess.
Nice.
But it was fun. And I got that bra right off, and she never fought me the entire probably 3 months that seemed like forever that we dated. But, you know, yeah, I was good with the bra from minute one. Wish I could find me a bra now to get off. But that's another story. So yeah, man. So how's things in Camp Piercy?
Good. Well, since last time I talked to you, we were in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
So that was interesting. Stayed at a pretty cracked out motel over there. I probably forgot to tell you to add that to the show today, but I think while I was there, I told you I happened to spot what I thought was like a Coke spoon snorting device or something that was in the chair.
Wow. No, you didn't send me that.
I didn't. Oh, okay. Well,
no.
Yeah, to me, that's what I thought it was. It was like a small metal thing and a cylinder shaped thing. And then on one side of it, it had like a little shovel, would appear to be a shovel. And then when you turned it around, it had this other kind of holder. It looked like one was for somebody who doesn't do a lot of blow and you just want to give them a little bit. And then the other side's for the more experienced people. Like that's what I assumed it was. And it was like jammed in the chair. Just something had glimmered in the chair next to the bed. I'm like, what is that? And I thought it was a wallet. Well, hey, no, but it wasn't. It was like this thing. And I'm like, ew. Oh, it's supposed to be some Coke thing. And I know I sent it to some people and I thought I did send it to you. Maybe I'll find it.
I didn't see this thing. Yeah, send that over. Okay. Dude, who books these? Steven or Jason, or who books the hotels?
Well, Jason Green advances the shows. So this place though, in his defense, Jason's defense, it sounded like a decent place. Okay.
I mean, it sounds like he's going on Travelocity and doing the fucking bidding. Here's my bid, $10 a room. Let's see what we come up with. It's like every week you have another, bloody stain on the microwave. Now you got a Coke spoon in a chair. The fuck?
Oh yeah, it's I will always find something. Let's see. Okay, Chris Akin, and then I'm gonna go into my photos here while I'm talking to you.
All right.
So I found this thing. Now, interestingly enough, one of our friends, Chris Bush, who I was hoping would hook up with you. I guess he hasn't called you yet. Maybe he's been busy. I know he is an attorney, so he could be busy doing attorney stuff.
Sure.
But he actually saw the thing, the Coke spoon thing, and he explained to me that that's actually a manicuring device that they use to get in the cuticle and what have you. I'm seeing how long.
So even without Coke, it had funk of some sort on it, probably.
Oh yeah, it looked like dried up meth on it. Oh, that was on the spoon. So I think somebody was freaking using it for that.
Dude,
I know I'm close. Here it is. I got it.
Are you emailing it to me?
Yeah, I'm gonna email it to you.
All right, that way I can put it right up on the screen.
Right. I'm sorry. I should have totally had this done.
That's
even
all right. It's
sooner.
all good. Hey, we got plenty of
Okay.
time.
Nice. Right. We have 2 hours to get it over there.
2 hours to kill.
Right. But
Oh
I
my
love
God.
finding shit. I have fun with it. Did it come there already?
Let's see. Probably take a minute because it's a photo, but I'll see. I'll see in a minute. But yeah,
Where was I at the Travelers Inn? Rock and Roll podcast asks. I actually totally forgot the name of this place, but it was what it turned out to be is an extended stay type scenario where the majority of people there actually freaking live there. So
like the La Quinta or one of them places. That's
I'm cool with La Quinta.
okay.
You said that like a gringo, by the way.
Well, I am a gringo. Look at me. Look at me. I'm as white as they come. It's the
How did you say it?
La Quinta.
No, say it with me. Quinta. La Quinta. La Quinta.
La Quinta.
Okay, no, we'll have to work on that. But that place is good. I don't mind La Quinta. That's like they have good breakfast there and all this. This place didn't have shit. All they had was like some kind one thermos thing with coffee in the lobby, and then it locks you out of the place. You always have to put your key to get in, so it's a little sketchy over there.
Oh boy,
that's Austin's one of those places that's really gone to shit,
right?
You know?
Oh, really? Because I used to love going to Austin.
Right.
I used to work, and when I worked at a company building trouble ticketing systems, it was the dumbest company ever. It was based in Ohio, but almost all the work was in Texas. So literally Monday through Thursday, I would fly to Texas, come home Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and back on a plane Monday to go install another system. And I did that for like a year. And so I spent a ton of time in Austin. Great city.
Yeah, the people in Texas are awesome.
They are.
Residents and everything. That's not what I'm talking about. It just seems to me that progressively the homelessness has gotten worse, and just I don't know, man. It's just gotten sketchier over the years. I lived there in 2003 for about a year.
Is it just the LA people moving to Texas?
Maybe that is what's happening now. I didn't see any police anywhere actually, but I don't know. There wasn't any like crime that occurred while he was there. Although I think there was I think Jason Green's mom called him and said that there was a serial killer on the loose or something like that. And they were like, went on some hunt, which you'll probably see on his show
right
in the future. I kind of forget most of the shit that happens. I watch his things sometimes just to go, oh yeah, we were here or there.
Do you remember where you went?
Right. But we get there. This place had no breakfast, no food. It had like a snack machine. That was it.
Right.
Which I really just got waters out of. And it didn't look like you could really walk around there. Like Austin has like service roads by the main freeways.
Okay.
And it just looked sketchy at night to walk. So I was like, well, guess I'm not getting dinner tonight, and just drank some waters. I found the Coke spoon. Did you get that?
No, it didn't come through.
It really didn't come through yet.
No, I did not get it yet. And I got all those movies and stuff you sent me. So
it seemed like sometimes there was a slight delay. Right. It hasn't shown that it went yet. I will even do it again. Before oh, right. Well, we'll see here. I'm doing it again. Here we go. Chris Akin. And then we look it up. We get the Coke spoon.
I got it. Just now it came through.
Okay. Well, goddamn it.
All right. Well, let me open image in a new tab here.
We're not just a radio show. We need visuals here.
We need visuals. You're damn straight we do. We're a semi-pro show.
I need some visuals from you, babe.
There it is. Whoa.
Yeah, you're gonna tell me people aren't doing drugs with that thing?
Yeah, is that like a little scoop on the end there, like right here?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so you could dip that in like a little baggie of Coke and just.
Yep. Yeah, for if like you can't, you're somewhere and you need a hit,
Yeah, now what is this other side? Is it like a hard edge, or is
that'd be like for that girl who doesn't usually do it? That's with you, Is
that like a little scoop too? Is it?
Yeah, it's like it is a scoop, but it's like a smaller kind of scoop. But then like my whole drug fantasy was ruined later when Chris Bush was like explaining to me that he says that's a device women use for their nails.
Okay.
So I was like,
I
well,
can
even
see
that's
that.
disgusting. It looks like a
Yeah.
torture device for nails. I mean,
Yeah. And what's that middle part to like rub like they would rub the scales off their feet or some shit?
oh god damn it. You would have to say that. I didn't even think about that. And I'm holding it right there.
You know, one of those like you know, like they have those like if you got feet that get those like real hard, what do they call that? Callus or whatever on your
Right.
feet. Then you just take that edged part there and just rub it on your foot and scrape that
Like
callus
this
off.
one.
I couldn't see, it was moving way too fast with those.
How about
with
slow
that-
motion?
Dun, 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 dun. That's it.
That was the slow-mo.
The slow-mo of it. I could see the callus very clearly. Oh, Joe Rico, what are you thinking here? Look at this. The long pinky
nails used for the cokes. Yeah, that's what I said, Joe Rico. Rico, which means smooth in Espanol for those who know.
That's Rico.
Oh, is it? Okay.
The way I pronounce it with La
That's the
Quinta.
way you pronounce it.
That's Joe Rico.
I'm pretty sure it's Rico.
I'm sure it is
Suave.
Suave.
But that chair you see behind in the background, it was like in the top right corner of the cushion there. I just
Yeah.
my eye kind of caught it. And I go, what the fuck?
Jesus.
Yeah. And yeah. So
Lucky you. You just keep winding up in these awesome places with all this
Right.
fucking. You could have a garage sale just of fucking junk that you find at these places.
you know what's really sad is no, I think I was gonna say I think I took that thing home, but no, I threw it away. See, I can't even that's one thing I'm not allowed to do. My doctors told me that when I was in the hospital last year. They're like, you can't do coke. You're on beta blockers and you'll die.
Right.
And I was like, oh, all right.
Well,
Which it's not even, I don't recommend anybody to snort drugs anymore because with all the fentanyl out there, you're taking a big.
Well, not only that, even if
chance.
you know that it's clean, you're still 50, bro.
Right.
You can't be doing coke at 50.
Ironically,
I know some do,
mhm.
but I'm just gonna say
Agreed, dude.
It's
Agreed.
pretty damn dangerous to be doing
Right.
coke at 50 because let's face it, if you're in the best of health, if you're in the absolute best of health at 50 years old, you're one of those guys that runs a 10K every week and have since you were 10,
Right.
your heart is still half clogged.
I was in the best of health. I was in the worst of health. You know what? Yeah. All I know is I don't know how much longer you and I are going to be around. We make the most of it. What I love about my new health crisis is that I've ceased to give a fuck what anybody thinks or, oh, they'll come and get me. They're going to whack me or bring it, motherfucker. I'm going out anyway. Might as well be with this extended.
That's it.
So,
yeah. And I mean, in my state, they've allowed carry now. You don't have to even get a CCW anymore to carry. It's open carry here in Ohio.
right. Probably nobody's stealing anything anywhere anymore.
They sure as fuck ain't stealing nothing out of my car. You know, I don't know if you saw, but right down the road from me, they're going crazy in here, down in Akron tonight because they had some. I don't even know what it's about because I don't pay attention to news. But some sort of grand jury didn't indict somebody that fucking did something to somebody. I don't even know what the story is, but. They're going fucking ballistic down there tonight and probably burning the city down. But when I was out today, it was with that Taurus judge right by my side. It was like, you may burn that car down and you may burn that car down. Sure as fuck ain't burning my car down. Not unless you want to get your head fucking sawed off. You know, fuck you.
Wow. It's like a horror movie. You might as well just stay home and have your groceries delivered.
No, at this point, dude, I do for the very most part, but I've been in bed so long. You know, I mean, 3 months, 3 solid months of laying in bed. So now any chance I get to get up and get out and, you know, breathe some air. Like I worked out, I worked outside in my front yard for a couple of days just because I could, just because I was able to sit up and not be laying on my back.
What'd you have to do in your yard? What yard?
No, yard work. I don't do that thing. Please, dude. That's what I pay people to do.
Oh, you were working in the yard. I remember you posted
no.
a photo, actually. You had like a nice foliage around you and you're like, birds were chirping and you were.
Exactly it.
Getting Chat GPT to write your stories for you.
Pretty much, yeah. No, I did. I just put up the laptop and just worked from outside. But yeah, Colin, let me answer this question real quick. Yes, Colin, Joe Stump will be on in about 10 minutes. We will be having Joe on. Relax. But while you're here, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel over at Chris Akin Presents. We don't promote our own shit enough, but please subscribe to Chris Akin Presents on YouTube so that you get our show each and every week, not just when the great Joe Stump is on. How's that? Please do. Anyway, back to business. Yeah, man, I was since I'm able to get up finally after 3 months of this stupid shoulder and everything else going on with it, my health falling to shit. You know, it was nice to just get outside, breathe some air, you know, drive the neighbors crazy with the new Metallica record.
Dude, it sounded good when I heard you guys playing on the CMS.
Yeah. Oh, it's a good record, man. It's definitely I know there's a lot of haters out there that are like, it's boring, it's too long, it's this. You know what? These guys are in their 60s. They're not going to sound like Master of Puppets. They're a rock band now. They're not a thrash metal band. If you accept the constants of Metallica and listen to it for what it is, it's a big, fat, meaty, strong record. It's what it is. You know, so just accept that for what it is. I know Lars can't play anymore. No shit. I think we've all figured that out. Lars
plays great in the studio.
Well, so could I if I only had to hit one note at a time and somebody will put it together. And I'm sure that's what happened. I'm positive that they worked on it studio-wise to clean it up. And I don't care. I'm not
What
Eddie
about
Trump.
they just played live on Jimmy Kimmel. Did you catch that?
I saw a little of it. I saw like the first night when they played Lux Eterna. I mean, they can play. I mean, they can play their songs. And
I heard him do Master of Puppets, and it was
and it's not.
I didn't listen to the whole thing because it's goddamn 10-minute long song, but I listened to like the first few minutes, and it sounded great.
It sounds fine. I mean, Lars doesn't play speed anymore. You know, he's found a way to reduce Master of Puppets to a 4/4 rock tempo. But I don't care. I don't care. They still sound. When I see other bands that are out there doing it very poorly, doing their old classic material very poorly, and the worst I got to tolerate is Lars kind of being halfway shitty. Fine. I don't care. I'm going to go see Lars. I'm going in November. I've got tickets to see the Detroit stadium show. I'm going to go. I was only going to go for the Pantera night, but I'm so pumped up now from 72 Seasons that I'm going to go both nights. I'm going to go the first night, and I'm going to stay in a hotel in Detroit and do nothing because I'm sure not going to walk around that fucking war zone.
No.
But then I'll just, you know, because with the tickets, you get Friday night and Sunday night tickets to Metallica. So I'll go Friday night, and then I'll hang out in the hotel room, probably do the CMS from a hotel room. And then Sunday I'll go to the Metallica show with what is it? With like Five Finger Death Punch and Ice Nine Kills. Why not?
There's Five Finger Death Punch on all 3 nights, or is it just 2 nights?
It's 2 nights over 3. It's 2 nights over 3 days.
And they get a break in the middle.
Yeah, the first night is Metallica, Pantera, and Wolfie Van Halen. Okay. Second night is Metallica, Five Finger, and Ice Nine Kills. So basically, if you want to look at it, first night is for the old people. Second night is for the younger people. That's kind of how that breaks down. And for me, I like Five Finger enough to stay. And I was going to just go the one night and just come home and just eat the ticket for the second night because I don't care. But now I'm so into Metallica again that I'm like, you know what? It's a giant show. I mean, it really is a giant show. And it's Metallica, other than Pantera, my favorite band ever. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to go. I'm going to go check it out, and I'm going to, I'll see it for 2 nights. It might be the last time I ever get to see them. Who knows?
That's right.
You know, or it might be the last time I get to see them where they're good. That's the other concern I have is eventually they're going to fall down the hole that everybody else falls down and start sucking.
Or literally fall down into a hole because Metallica is not probably one of those bands, even though they did it with Cliff in the early beginning of their career, I
Mhm.
can't see him now touring as Metallica without Kirk and Lars and James.
No, this
So if
is
something happened to any one of those 3 guys, which could
it's
totally happen,
yeah. I
they
mean,
would have to cease to exist live,
yeah.
you know?
And they're not young. They're not young. Hetfield has made it, while not saying it, he's made it pretty clear he doesn't like doing it anymore. You know, the whole crying on stage and everything else, having emotional breakdowns and shit. It's like he clearly doesn't. I'm convinced he doesn't want to do it anymore.
Sure.
I'm convinced that he's doing it because of the number of people that work for Metallica now.
Right.
Dude, I watched they did an event for Amazon in December, I think it was, maybe January. And it was like a broadcast, just a live concert broadcast of a show. And at the end, they ran the credits. Dude, the credits were 9 minutes long. 9 minutes. And the entire time, it wasn't one name scrolling. It was hundreds of people. Here's the stage guys, 30 people. Here's the sound guys, 30 people. Here's the lighting techs, 30 people. Here's the management company, 30 people. I was like, my God.
It's a monster, yeah.
It's some kind of monster, as they say, you know. But
Have
yeah,
like
it's
20 semi trucks.
yeah, it's a giant business. The business of Metallica is
That's
huge. Right. And I honestly think that James Hetfield just doesn't, you know, he knows if he steps down, he puts out of work 100 fucking people. And more than likely it's 100 people that he's, you know, gone and seen their kids born and gone to family barbecues with. You know, these are the people that have been with them 30 years, 40 years. So, you know, to just say, okay, well, I'm done now, so you all have to go and, you know, go get a job or whatever, and you're all in your 60s. He probably just doesn't want, you know, that's tough.
And they're so successful.
Yeah.
I mean, they really don't. I mean, because I don't care what level or however money, like touring is rigorous, whatever level you're at. You still got to go through the logistics of it all and the flights and this. You can have your own plane. It doesn't matter. You still got to get on a plane and deal with all that shit. And he doesn't have to do it. Those guys never have to work another day in their lives. So it says something about them that they do take into consideration all the people that depend on them, and then all the fans of this thing they built up. At some point, though, he's going to have to probably retire because how long can he, you know, keep yes sir, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
At 70, 75.
And the unique thing about Metallica to just about any other band, and I'm gonna put them ahead of even like the U2s or the Rolling Stones or any of those bands, and put Metallica alone on the island. Metallica is the only one that has truly cultivated new audience as they've gone.
Sure.
Metallica has as many 20 and 30-year-old fans now as they do 50, 60, 70-year-old fans that started with them. It's weird when you go. Well, the
Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones were kind of that way.
No, they held on to their old fans forever. You go to a Rolling Stones fan, you feel like somebody broke into the nursing home and let everybody out. I mean, that's how it feels. When I went to see on the last tour, whatever that was, not Death Magnetic, but Hardwired. When I went and saw the Hardwired tour here in Cleveland, there were as many people popping super hard, like it was the greatest thing they'd ever heard, when Metallica played The Memory Remains, as there were people going crazy for Master of Puppets, maybe more. And when Enter Sandman came, the whole room went crazy because that transcended both the old heads and the new people. You know, it's like right in the middle is Enter Sandman, and it's such a huge song, so everybody went nuts. But it was really, for me as an old head, it was really kind of sad for me when I saw the fans losing their shit for Whiskey in a Jarro and Memory Remains.
Did they play Justice for All?
No, they don't play it. That's way too fast for Lars now. Way too fast. They do play it from time to time, but they play it slower. And it's like, you know, they like even like Dyer's Eve. They'll try it every once in a while they'll try it. They'll pull it
Dear
out.
mother, dear father.
Yeah. And then you just see Lars like, just freaking out because he can't play as fast as he used to play. So
Right.
it's quite the thing to see. But I'll give Metallica all the credit in the world. They're still putting out quality. They're 70 years old or 65 years old or whatever. And they just put out a 77-minute album with videos for every song. That's a lot of work, man.
It is. And like bands like Slayer have retired, which were kind of in the same time frame.
Yeah.
Definitely not a big selling as Metallica, but still revered as the second down on the big four from them.
Exactly. So
how far behind can Metallica be from Slayer,
I think they're going to hang in for the 8 years and get to 50. 8 years from now is 50. And I think that's where they'll get to. So,
cash out at 50.
Yep, that's it. They might as well. Well, I'll tell you what, dude, our guest, Mr. Joe Stump, is sitting in the green room just waiting for us to stop yammering. So why don't we do that? Let's take a quick break, and we will play a quick spot. We'll come back with some Alcatrazz, brand new Alcatrazz music, and we will get Mr. Joe Stump on the show next. Right here, it is Chris Akin Presents. Are you a fan of the Classic Metal Show? If you are, then you should know that the show does not end on Saturday nights. Become a VIP of the Classic Metal Show and be part of the fun each and every day of the week. VIPs get exclusive content not heard in my personal interviews that I do on Chris Akin Presents, as well as heavy metal conversation that is not posted on any other social media platform. This stuff is exclusive. And what else do I bring you? I bring you the after the interview talk with the rock stars, just a lot of stuff that you wouldn't get anywhere else. You also get the exclusive third segment of the Classic Metal Show podcast weekly, which is not released free on any other platform. Finally, you get access to the Chat and Kill chat room, the lone place we look during the show for interactivity on the show. It's the only place, so be part of the show by joining. It's a lot of fun, and it's only $5 a month. So join us today at classicmetalshow.locals.com. Hail and kill. And right back here on the Classic Metal Show. No, it isn't the Classic Metal Show. On Chris Akin Presents.
Whoops.
Whoops, wrong show. But with us, joining us right now, Alcatrazz has a brand new release. It is out on May the 19th, and they are led by this guy, just a phenomenal guitar player in his own right. You may remember him from Reign of Terror, or now you know him from Alcatrazz. And if you just look online, he's one of the virtuosos of the last 40 years. He is Mr. Joe Stump. Joe, how are you, man?
I'm good. Good. As I said, being Joe Stump's a pretty sweet deal. So I live a charmed life. I can't complain.
That's right, man. Well, dude, I love what you do. And I was a huge fan of the Reign of Terror stuff. I just really love that stuff. But I'm glad to see that you've landed in a band type scenario. I mean, it seems, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but you've spent a good amount of your career kind of as yourself, finding entities to play around you, where this is more of a true band environment, and where you're interacting with the band. Is that A, does that feel about right with your career? And B, are you comfortable being in a band scenario versus being the leader of the pack?
Well, I'm comfortable in both. After the Reign of Terror, I was playing with Holy Hell, like symphonic power metal band. So, I was, we used to tour all the time with Manowar. So, Rhapsody of Fire and stuff. So that was one thing I was doing that was more of a band thing. Okay. But with Alcatrazz, it's great. But still, like, I write the majority of the music, for the band and stuff. So it's really not much of a departure from anything else I've done.
Right on, man. Well, dude, let's talk about Alcatrazz. This is since you joined the band, if you've done nothing else, I think you kicked the other guys in the face and said, hey, gas pedal to the floor, man. We got to put out music. Third record in 3 years from you guys. I mean, you guys are really creating a lot of music. So why don't we start there with the creative output, man? It's been fast and furious from you guys.
Yeah, well, when when we made the switch over to Doogie, he was anxious to do something new, and the label was happy to have us do a new record with him. And then they were originally, I think that this record they were going to release Take No Prisoners, like I think later, but the record company liked it so much they moved it up. So I guess that's not such a bad thing.
Yeah, definitely is not. And it's I don't know, do we call this a rebirth of Alcatrazz? Because really, it in my mind, as an old school guy, it kind of is the rebirth since you, Larry, and Doogie came into the band. So you guys are creating a whole new wealth of music. You've obviously created 30 some songs since you three came together with the other two guys. So does it feel to you like a fresh band and not a band that's carried by legacy?
Well, I guess a little bit of both. Most people know Alcatrazz because mainly because not to take anything away from Graham, of course, but mainly because first Yngwie and then Steve. The guitar player has always been the one who's driven the musical direction of the band. So it does feel like a brand new thing to a certain extent.
Sure. Now, for you personally, somebody that is an elite player, how does it feel to be in that category? I mean, that's rare air to be in the category of Yngwie and Vi.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily. I mean, Steve and Yngwie are both legends. So I'm not going to put myself in that category, but I'm proud to be carrying the torch and taking the band into the into the future.
Right on, definitely. Now, Joe, the new record, it just seems like it picks up right up where 5 left off, where the last record left off. Was this a new writing session, or were these all written at one time and just weren't released all at once as one big project?
No, these were all like brand new tunes. Brand new tunes on this record, and some of the stuff is similarities to 5, but there's also a bunch of stuff that's a bit of a departure, just like the track you play, the piece of the track you play, Don't Get Mad, Get Even. When I wrote that, I wrote like the music to that, and Doogie, of course, writes the lyrics and the melody lines, the traditional singer guitar player kind of thing. But me, I was thinking along the lines of like a Thin Lizzy thing and that kind of thing. So it's kind of like the new record kind of walks the line between some of the stuff is metal and some of the stuff has got maybe even more of a hard rock kind of vibe. So it's a mixture.
I was gonna say, hearing that track that Chris played, that lead was sick, Joe. That you played on. That was you playing on that?
Yeah, that was me, and that was it. Yeah, on that one, I'm a huge Gary Moore fanatic, so I was kind of channeling some of the late great Gary Moore as far as that was my. Usually when I'm playing a solo, it's not like I'm reinventing the wheel. I'm kind of channeling one of my heroes, and that one was Gary Moore. Right. I mean, there's a new single out called Battle Lines, and that one for me, it's more of a Schenker thing,
Right.
So it's usually I got like one of my heroes in there as far as what my approach is.
That's awesome. Right. Is that the guitar that you used when you recorded?
No, this is just one of my. I'm more comfortable speaking when I have a guitar in my lap, I guess. So.
Right.
So it's not plugged in or any of that nonsense. It's not like I'm going to start to rip or anything, but it just makes me a little bit more comfortable when I'm speaking.
Sure. Tell us about the guitar, man. What are you holding there?
I have a hookup with the ESP company. So this is a model they made years ago called an ST, but it's all modded. You know, it's got a scallop neck and different pickups and all that. And this is, but I have many guitars. You know, I got like 60-something guitars, and I'm a Strat dude, so a ton of Fenders and a ton of ESPs. So I played a mixture of guitars on the new record.
Right on. Let me ask you this, Joe, and I don't know if you know, but Erik is Stephen Pearcy's guitar player. So it's kind of guitar player to guitar player. And I'm going to ask you to put your professor hat on for a second and teach Erik a little something here. What is it when you step into a project like an Alcatrazz that does have history? How much time do you invest into capturing what the previous guitar players were doing, even if it's just to play the old songs, versus taking those old songs and making them your own?
Well, myself, I knew, like, I've been listening to Yngwie since the Steeler record, since '80, since that came out. So when No Parole came out, I knew a bunch of those solos. I learned them when that record came out in '83. So I knew a lot of them, or, I've known a bunch of them, many of them for years and years. And, and those are some of my favorite Yngwie solos, Krina Corey and Too Drunk and Jet to Jet, of course. So I was familiar with all the stuff. And then as far as like with the Alcatrazz, and then I usually, and then, as far as I'm not really comfortable playing the Buy stuff. We played God Bless Video live for a little bit, but it's Steve's amazing and a legend and everything. But my playing style is much more European, so it was no picnic for me doing that. But I managed.
Right.
But as far as with Alcatrazz, like since Doogie worked with Blackmore and Schenker, we do a few Rainbow things off Stranger in Us All, and we do maybe one, maybe two Schenker things. So, and I those guys are two of my heroes. So it's very easy for me to channel all that kind of stuff, but bring my own vibe and aggression to it.
Right. Is it fun to channel all of the influences? Or is it more fun for you to step away from all of it and bring strictly what you have in your head and your fingers to new music?
Well, I like doing both. I love playing the Blackmore stuff, the Rainbow stuff. I love playing the old Yngwie stuff, but I love playing all the new stuff, and of course stuff that I composed that we play live. So yeah. I mean, ideally, I love playing my own tunes better, but it's not like I don't thoroughly enjoy the old Alcatrazz stuff with Yngwie as well as the Blackmore and Schenker stuff.
Right on, definitely.
My cat used to play in an Alcatrazz cover band. It was called Me Alcatrazz.
Goofball. Joe, let me ask you this, man. Alcatrazz has toured since the pandemic. I don't want to say over. I never want to say over anymore, but since it loosened up, I guess you guys have played abroad, and it's obviously, from everything that I read anyway, it's a very different world over there now as far as touring goes. It's way more expensive. It's way more difficult to get over there and to get gigs, and there's not as many places to play. So, as somebody that's done it, can you give us a little bit of background on how it's different now from, 2019 back?
Well, everything's, quite a bit more, a bit more expensive. When you think about, and we were doing it, we were in Europe, for like, I think it was 17, 18 shows or something. And originally the tour was going to be done in a nightliner. But then, all the tour bus prices shot way up. So we were just doing it, doing it in the Sprinter van and with hotels. And which I certainly don't mind. I like sleeping in a bed as opposed to on the bus and bathing basis. I'm a big fan of that. You know, showering every day and everything. So that was cool. But some of the distances were like a real grind. So a lot of going to bed at 4 and waking up at 8:30 and a lot of that. But everything's quite a bit more expensive. Hotels are a bit more expensive. Getting over to Europe, getting over the UK, more expensive airfare wise, and of course, as they say over in Europe, petrol. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, we see in the States, gas is like sky, expensive. So you're breaking your balls and not coming home with nearly as much money as you used to. So that would be the But all the shows were pretty well attended, and a good amount of people came out, even during the weekday shows. So overall, it was a fairly successful mission. Just wish it would have shook out a little bit more profitable on that end.
Right. Do you think if this continues, like it doesn't look like there's any end to this in sight, do you think if this continues that touring music is going to become a little bit more of a regional thing again? Because I mean, there's a lot of big name bands that are just not going to Europe right now, not going to England, because of bands like Godsmack saying, no, we're not going to go, we can't afford to go. Do you think it's going to end up almost regionalizing music again just because of the enormous expense to get over there?
You might have some of that, and some of the bands where they're used to making like X amount of, bringing in X amount of cash on a tour and X amount of profit, where it's just not worth it. Larger bands where it's not worth it, like Godsmack, of course, those guys are massive, where it's not worth their time.
Right.
But there's, I love it. So I'm always ready to go at any time. So, but of course, I would imagine some of that's going to happen where some American bands aren't going to bite the bullet and take on the extra expense.
Sure, and it's probably going to make new bands almost impossible to break anywhere but their home country, because it's just so pricey to go outside of their home country.
I would agree with you there. I mean, if already established acts are having a bit of a struggle on the financial end to make touring worthwhile, I can't imagine for somebody that's a new artist. You know what I mean? It's going to be quite a bit more difficult.
Right on, man.
You could use miles and stuff. You could rack up enough miles playing in the States.
Miles
to get over to Europe.
Because I fly Delta all the time. So I think on one of the tours, I bought my ticket with with miles. So I can't complain.
That's right, Joe. Am I lying? Delta's the best airline going for domestic stuff.
I fly Delta, all the time, domestic, internationally. It's a good deal. I think last time I flew over to the UK in February for a tour, I brought 3 guitars on the plane.
Nice. I was the only thing I was bummed out is the games they have on the back of the seat. They got rid of the word scramble game, my favorite word scramble game, and they left tic-tac-toe, which is stupid. But I love it.
I only watch movies, so I wouldn't know. So on most flights, I'm just drinking and watching movies.
There you go. Right. That's the way to do it. Well, Joe, let's move back to the record here for a little bit. Obviously, Jimmy Waldo is in the band as well as produces the band. I always am amazed when bands can do that, and I'll tell you why. It always seems weird to me to have a band member producing the music, because you guys are all a little too close to it, and having the producer also be in the band doesn't leave that objective outside ear to hear, now that doesn't work, or that's not going to work. So how does that work for you guys? And does Jimmy, keep enough distance to actually be self-critical as well as critical of the parts that you guys are playing when you're putting the record together?
Well, I mean, I've never had any kind of clashes with Jimmy as far as as far as anything goes. Usually when I have a track, when I write a tune, I write like the whole tune's the whole tune's complete, meaning it's not like I just have a bunch of riffs. I have like the whole song structure is complete. This this is the riff, this is the verse, this is, and all that. And I have like the solo section mapped out and what the music is and all that. So
you just deliver it. You're like, you're welcome.
Yeah, I pretty much have the whole thing, and so I mean, I could see what you mean. Would it be great to have Andy Sneap do one of our records? Yeah, but I don't think we're quite in that tax bracket,
Right.
So you have to remember, like some of that stuff kind of comes out of necessity to a certain extent as well. Considering even though we're on like an awesome record company, Silver Linings legit. They have tons. They have Saxon. They got Europe. They have they have a whole bunch of like huge bands, legendary bands and whatnot. But it's not like we have a massive budget. So, but it really doesn't. There really is not much of a clash. I think a lot of times, and Giles Lavery works with Jimmy a lot, as it's really got to do with. I think those guys have a stronger hand in like what Doogie ends up doing. A lot of times more with the other guys in the band as opposed to me. Because I have all my stuff like laid out already, and most of the music is written by me.
Right on. Well, dude, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about this one song on the record, Little Rider. What a set of guitars on this, and I know that's all you. Talk a little bit about the Little Rider song, man, because amazing.
You mean Little Viper?
Yeah.
Little Viper. I remember I wrote that tune. I write a lot of stuff when I'm from New York, as you can hear by my accent, and I'm a massive New York Yankee fan, so I watch like every game. But a lot of times I'll write a lot of riffs and a lot of stuff when I'm watching TV. So I wrote that entire track, when I was sitting there in front of the television, and it's almost got this. Like if I had to describe it, it's like this it's like a fast Europe, almost like a fast European thing, but it's got a little bit of like a Megadeth kind of heaviness to it, but then much darker and much more European sounding. If I had to describe what the way the track is.
Right on. It's a cool song, man. It's very cool. Well, Joe, I'm gonna go back for a little bit. This has really nothing to do with Alcatrazz. Just, I as I was getting ready for the interview, I was doing my normal, Googling, and I'd always known that you were a professor and that you taught at Berkeley, and I know those things, and that's, that says as much to your skill as it does to your willingness to teach the skill, which, is far too few of you guys do that today. In my opinion, it seems like the only guys that do it are only doing it to make money, teaching it on Skype or whatever, instead of actually truly having a passion to bring forth the next wave of players. Now, that being said, though, as a guitar player, I don't imagine when you were in your teens and 20s, anybody could have sat you down and said, well, this is how you do it. Boom, 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 boom. So for you, is it weird to take the next generation of guys and find yourself grading them on technique and on style and on, on the flair that they have, almost molding their creativeness to what you see?
Well, I have I'm the metal specialist over there and the shred specialist, and now you have so all different kinds of metal players study with me, and now younger players, many of them have like a specific direction. Whether it's somebody that's into the more modern djenty stuff, somebody that's more into technical death metal, someone that's more of a classic metal player, somebody that likes old school thrash like the Big Four. somebody that's more into like guitar virtuoso stuff. So it runs the full spectrum. So I just try to. Granted, at the college there's a curriculum where like at the end of the end of the term you take a final exam on your instrument and you have to perform all these things: scales, arpeggios, chord voicings, reading, performance, etc. So I have to make sure everyone's cool with all that stuff. But it's just about me trying to see, and granted I have my own area of expertise. And do what I do. I don't expect all my students to be, to have the same exact direction as me. Obviously,
Sure.
Obviously, the older I get and the younger they get, that some of them might not even know some of my heroes are.
Sure.
They might think Richie Blackmore as the old dude that wrote "Smoke on the Water," as opposed to the guy that really shaped the way hard rock guitar, is played. The first guy to bring, dark scales like harmonic and Hungarian minor and the Byzantine scale to hard rock and metal.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's just about me trying to help them find their own direction. But I've had like many students that have went on to do well. Dave Davidson from Revocation was one of my guys.
Okay.
Rob Caggiano that played with Anthrax, that plays with Volbeat. Rob, he was Gus G used to, not at Berkeley, but he used to come over my place, and I was kind of like his mentor, from Firewind.
Sure.
So I've been fortunate to work with a ton of great young players and stuff. So it's always cool to try to help.
Sure. Do you ever find students trying to sound like Joe Stump instead of trying to sound like themselves because they think it'll make their grades better?
Well, everybody has players that they idolize, and then that kind of start. That's where you get started. Then you kind of find your own voice and your own niche and everything. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I got guys that they're asking me where I buy my jewelry, where I buy my boots. I have a couple old Corvettes. So like one of my old students, he graduated, whatever. He sent me a picture. He just bought like a 74 Corvette or whatever. You know what I mean? So I'm passing it all on, allegedly.
Nice. Very nice, man. Well, Joe, obviously you have the new album coming out. I'd imagine that you guys are going to promote it somehow. So are there touring plans? Do you have plans for the rest of the year to get out there and play some shows, or what are you planning?
I think in August, I think we got a few festival things over in Europe, but not a ton. And then in September we're going to South America. So we're doing and it's a decent amount of dates for a South American tour. I want to say like maybe 9 or 10. Okay. And then they're talking about North America, talking about doing some stuff in the States towards the end of the year, and doing a bunch more stuff in the States early next year as well. So there is some touring action in the pipes.
Very good, man. Well, Joe, obviously, man, you have the new record, Take No Prisoners, out May 19th here in the States, and people should definitely buy it. Do not just stream it. It's okay to stream it, but it's only okay to stream it as long as you buy any physical product that is out there. Take care of the band. And Joe, where should we tell people to go to keep up with you and with Alcatrazz and tour dates and all that stuff?
Everything will be on the Alcatrazz. The best source is like the Alcatrazz Facebook page and my Facebook page, and there's an Alcatrazz.com site as well. But the Facebook page, they're always like loading up with tons of current content and stuff. So just about everything's on. Just about everything's on that.
Okay, excellent. Well, one more time, the new album is called Take No Prisoners, May the 19th. It is Alcatrazz. And Joe, I figured what we would do is we would wrap this up with the video that you guys just put out recently for Battle Lines. Since you mentioned it at the beginning, we'll play a little piece of that. And so to wrap it up, what can you tell us about this song?
Battle lines. This is one I did not write. I added, I contributed some music to it, but I believe this one, Giles Lavery, who was, he's a singer in his own right, Alcatrazz's manager. Giles and Jimmy wrote this track. And it kind of like a classic metal track, because that was what we wanted to do. It was the kind of thing where, of course, like people that like Schenker and like that, like Rainbow and like Yngwie stuff will like Alcatrazz, but we wanted the band to cross over to, to a broader metal audience where people that like Accept or like Saxon or like Priest would also like Alcatrazz. So this one's got more of that classic metal vibe, and it's a cool track. And Doogie really brought it on this one, and just a strong, badass, heavy tune all the way around.
All right, well, let's check it out right now. This is Alcatrazz, and this is Battle Lines right here on Chris Akin Presents. Thanks, Joe.
Sure.
With trucker strikes and rising inflation, food shortages are becoming a big problem. Don't let yourself get caught unprepared. Buy a food survival kit today from My Patriot Supply and save. Over 2,000 calories a day to keep you healthy and strong, with a 25-year shelf life to ensure it's ready for you when the shit hits the fan. Go to www.bit.ly/CMSPN food, order your supplies today, and invest in yourself and your family now before it's too late. www.bit.ly/CMSPN food, My Patriot Supply.
And we are back right here on Chris Akin Presents with Chris and Erik. And Erik, what'd you think of that? That guy was great, huh?
Yeah, what a ripper that guy is.
Dude, he can absolutely shred. And it's funny, we're getting a lot of comments in here. Great interview, and and damn good interview, and blah blah blah. Those kind of interviews are easy. Guy with a lot of history that likes to talk. I can do those all day long.
For the guitar players, here's a little secret I wish I knew a lot earlier.
Yeah.
But if you're an up and coming, shredder guy that can't afford to go to Berkeley, you could put on an Alcatrazz track with Joe Stump ripping it up, and you could go into the settings on YouTube and you could change the playback speed. Now, normally if you would change the playback speed, it would like knock it to a different key or whatever, but it actually surprisingly keeps the pitch
really
the same as the original, but can slow it down as much as, 75%.
Wow.
Whatever's necessary. You do it too slow, it'll just sound like But if you do it right, you can actually like take somebody's solo and actually learn it. I've like gone back to brush up on maybe even some Ward DeMartini solos that I probably wasn't playing right. So if you didn't know that, I'm here to tell you, you can do that.
Hey, you can go to the Erik School of Music, which is Slow Down YouTube.
Slow down for me.
Well, dude, can you imagine? Just think about this for a second. Can you imagine walking into your class and here comes Joe Stump to fucking be your teacher, and you're like entry-level guitar player that is barely past playing AC/DC chords, and you're like, all right, here comes this guy, and you'd be like, oh,
it's nerve-wracking, right? It would be.
I would be like, I'm so gonna fail this course.
I don't particularly like having to do anything by myself. There's a couple points in the show where I have to do something by myself. The one that comes to mind is like Back for More.
Right.
From Rat, where all of a sudden I have to do this whole clean guitar
intro. Down, that part.
And if I start spacing out and thinking about my bills or like a fight up with my chick or something, like I could like forget what chord comes next, or like I could know any slight thing is just going to destroy that song, in the beginning.
All right, be honest. Have you ever fucked it up like really bad?
There is a time I recall like 20 years ago where not only did I fuck it up terribly, but somebody in the front row had a big like drink and just fucking hucked it right in my face. And it just like exploded all over me and Piercy.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Did Steven like lose his shit at you? I see, this is the stuff we can't get normally.
Right.
when you fuck up a song like that, that's all and obviously at that song, the beginning of that song before it kicks in with the doom 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 doom, before that part, it's all attention on you. If you fuck that up,
right.
What does Steven say to you when you get off stage that night?
He's like, oh, he would probably tell me, oh, you sound like shit tonight. So he'd probably tell me that. There's been a few times he might have said that, but most of the time he thinks everything's great. Like we could have a disastrous show and he'll come back, hey, high five. It's like, I'll give that one 6.5.
Nice.
I'm like, what show are you at? That was like a fucking 2.5.
Dude, is he that way with his own performances? Because it's no secret he's had some bad ones, and he's had some, especially when he was going through all the shit with his knee. He had some real bad ones. Does he come off the stage after that and be like, oh, that fucking sucked?
He's played so many shows, and he's such an iconic guy that he really doesn't like dwell on that sort of thing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? He doesn't dwell on the however many handful of shows where he had some issues and it was on YouTube and probably has 10 million hits watching him hanging off a drum riser. But I thought it was hilarious because like at the time, it wasn't like I was wishing the best for him and Juan's version of the band or anything.
Sure.
It was putting me out of work. So when I saw that, I was just like, yeah, it was fun. I found it to be humorous.
One more on Steven, and then we'll get to our other guest that wants to come in and say hi.
Okay.
When you guys play like a really big show, whatever a really big show would be now, maybe it would be like a headline of an M3 or something. I'd imagine that's a big show, right? That's a bigger show. Does he, who's played 10,000 shows at this point, does he get like way amped up like you guys, I'm assuming do. I'm assuming, especially you who's excitable anyway. I'm sure when you look out there and see 30,000 people or whatever, like a Rocklahoma or something, your fucking heart's going 10,000 miles a minute. Does Piercy get that way, or is he so immune to it now that it's just another gig, whether it's 10 people or 100,000 people?
That's one of his lines that he goes, I don't care if it's 10 people, 1,000 people, 11 billion people. It's all a party to me. Or something like that. He has some.
Yeah, well, it's one thing to say it, but does he live it?
He does live it. And he's just having fun with it. He's somebody who has had enough drama in his life to appreciate each day.
Right.
And he sincerely, when he tells the crowd how much he loves to see their smiling faces still, he's being sincere that he's like, I think he appreciates it more now even than maybe he did when I joined the band 20 years ago. And he was like, wouldn't sign autographs. He just, his chi wasn't in order,
Right.
And I feel like now he's in a good place. He's so much healthier. We have a ton of shows being booked right now. I'm hearing like already like 40 shows.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, for the rest of the year. Then they're still adding some, so that's phenomenal.
Am I gonna have to find a co-host for some of these, or are they?
I don't think so.
Weekends?
There's the Monsters of Rock cruise is the only time that I'm going to be gone for a Monday, and that is coming up at the end of this month.
Yep, and I already got a host for that, so we're good.
This week, we're going to the Tucson, Arizona.
Okay. Nice.
State of
nice and warm.
Yeah, Arizona. They're in the Pima County Fair.
Okay.
We're headlining the show. Slaughter and Great White are going to be playing.
Nice.
So that's cool.
It's the only thing that'll be cool in that hot house. Holy smokes.
Speaking of hot house, there's the hot spot that we were talking about earlier in Austin, and one cool thing that happened was Johnny Monaco, which, by the way, I'm drinking a Monaco. I don't know if you're familiar with these.
No.
It's the green screen. It kind of makes it look.
Oh, there it is. It's gone.
Yeah, I already drank it. It's already gone. All you see is the logo, which is just if you could see.
Yeah, there it is. The Monaco.
There's a cock. It's just a cock.
Sounds like Monaco to me.
Anyways, it's this is a tequila lime crush because they were out of the Cantina tequila
Okay.
sodas that my lady Susan likes to get that are
Right.
expensive as shit. They're like $9 for 4 of them.
Ooh.
They're a little strong, but these are actually 9%
9%.
alcohol.
How's
Yeah,
it
which is
taste?
like, oh, it's awful for like the first 4 sips of this one. It's awful, but then it burns your taste buds away. You don't taste it
Right.
anymore, and you're like, oh, I'm getting pretty buzzed off this, and then it's just kind of like a kind of shitty energy drink kind of taste.
Right.
But anyway, that's a lot of alcohol in there, so I'm enjoying that. But anyways, Johnny had introduced me to a gentleman named Mark Hackett who
Okay.
makes really cool stuff. He's like I guess an inventor guy of sorts, and he
Sure.
has a company called Tone Vice.
Okay.
And if you're somebody who plays guitars that have like locking tuners on it,
Mm-hmm.
typically you'd have to have Allen wrenches nearby to be able to like undo this part, the nut,
Sure.
if you have locking
Okay.
nuts. Now, these things are kind of cool, super heavy duty, but if everybody can see that, they kind of look like beer taps.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But these turn to the left to unlock, but you don't need Allen wrenches
Okay.
anymore. You just have these. You're never gonna have to find an Allen wrench. These easily, they're heavy duty. And Johnny introduced me to the guy, and the guy gave me a couple pairs of these, and they're awesome. The next thing that I want to get is a stabilizer to go in the back of the guitar, which would
Okay.
keep it from being able to pull up, but it would like stabilize it. So if you ever did break a string, or it would keep it in tune. And also if you're changing strings, it's a lot easier. You don't have to find stuff to jam in there.
Right.
So I will be getting that soon, but everybody can check out Mark Hackett's company Tone Vice at tonevice.com.
Okay. Very
and
cool.
They can score. So that was a
Now, are you going to
little
mod
added
out?
bonus.
Are you going to just mod that guitar out? Or are you going to mod everything you have for that? Or what are you going to do?
I did. They also, let me see here. They also had it. He came back and said, "Oh, I think you have black hardware too, right?" So he had
Oh, nice.
gave me a black pair also.
Okay.
And very cool.
Now, what do those do? This is the novice guitar player in me because I can't play for shit. What do those do for your sound? Anything, or is it just for the the mechanics of the guitar?
Exactly. That's a great description of what it is. It's basically just to lock the strings in place. And these types of setups where it has the Floyd Rose,
Mhm.
they are a pain to get set up. I mean, honestly, I take 2 guitars with me. Johnny just takes one. He has like a Ibanez guitar, and he has a stabilizer thing in the back. So what I forgot to mention is this thing's like the D-Tuna that was an Eddie Van Halen device that basically, I think Eddie might have been the first one to come up with this thing, but it has a little dial that you turn to the left, and then all of a sudden the guitar will go from standard tuning down to drop D.
Sure.
You could set it up like that. But the problem is that D-Tuna doesn't work on all guitars. Like, it doesn't work on my Charvels, which sucks. But if you use the Tone Vice one, that does fit in. It's actually way more heavy duty. Like, I was checking Johnny's out, and he's all, check it out. And I went up and was like rolling it back, and it feels heavy duty. It doesn't feel like something that's going to wear out or what have you. I'm not sure what the price is on that thing, but I'm going to get one.
Sure. Well, let's do this, Eric. Let's change directions a little bit. Now that I'm learning all about the mechanics of playing guitar for Stephen Pearcy,
okay,
let's see if we can get a collectible, an Eric Ferrantino's collectible, as well as a Stephen Pearcy collectible. Maybe this guy can help us out. He is the owner of Knucklebonz, the CEO of Knucklebonz, which makes, I would argue, the best looking and the coolest of all the collectibles. He is Mr. Tony Simerman. Tony, how are you, man?
What's up, down under?
What is up, sir? How are you, man?
Good.
Excellent. Well, Tony, we were just talking. Erik, my co-host here, is he plays guitar with Stephen Pearcy in Stephen Pearcy's band, and and we're trying to figure out what we got to do, how we can convince you to do a Stephen Piercy and Erik Ferentino's Knucklebonz collectible. What do we got to do?
You got to talk to the boss lady. You got to talk to the co-founder, Ashley.
Look at you pushing it right
She's
off.
a green light. I just do what they tell me.
We have some of your work displayed tonight here.
Yeah.
Through photographs.
That's Steve Stevens. That's one of my faves. We try not to play favorites. Anytime Knucklebonz does something, it's like our kids, right? So you can't like one better than another. But goddamn, look at that. That's what look at the dictionary in Rockstar, and that Steve Stevens. That's what a Rockstar looks like.
Absolutely.
That's what I said. Earlier I said he's magical.
Yeah.
He really is. Well, Tony, let's dig into Knucklebonz, man. 2 decades of making. There's a lot of collectibles out there. Let's be honest. There's not just Knucklebonz. There's the pop rock stuff, and and obviously with the advent of the conventions, there's a zillion knockoffs that are all trying to knock off what you and just a few have been able to do. And what that is, in my eyes, and tell me if any of this is not true, but to me, what you've been able to do, create something that's cool every time out. Every single piece that you put out is very cool, and B, it appreciates in value. And finding that combination is very rare. Usually you can find something that's cool, but then somebody mass produces it so much that its value is shit, or it'll appreciate in value, but it doesn't necessarily look super cool. You've been able to bridge that gap pretty much since you started. So why don't we start there, man, and talk a little bit about what it is that you do, how it is that you envision a new piece, and then the process that you go through to get a piece from your mind to a table somewhere,
to a man or person cave. So
yes,
20 years ago, the collectibles category I've liked, ever since I was a kid. G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip. I'm even old enough to remember Action fucking Jackson. That's how old I am.
Right.
But always loved the category and looked at it about 20 years ago and just identified plenty of people doing TV and film and pop culture stuff. And being a music super freak forever, we all know those fan bases are just as passionate as any Star Wars set of people or Marvel or anything like that.
Sure.
And nobody was really focused on it. People would come and go and do, pick off certain big artists and things. They'd do a Hendrix or some Beatles stuff, which is cool. But we thought, what if we were to do a line that focuses specifically on music? Is this something that could be a business? We had an idea that fans would show up if people made something authentic for them. So that was the original idea. Then we had to prove the point. We had to actually pick a product and launch it and make it. So with that thinking in mind, it was never going to be mass produced. It was going to be a limited edition collectible. And the idea of a limited edition collectible is when it's gone, you retire it, it's sold out. It can go up in value. We don't have, fans say what things are worth after that point, right? We don't have any say in that. So we thought about it and we came up with the ideas. Let's do something that's, make things that are performance pieces. Like if you went and saw the band live, that's what I saw in 1960, 70, 80, 90, whatever.
Sure.
And so then we had to figure out, okay, we've got this grandiose idea. Who do we start with? What's the product that you would start with? And the obvious thing would say, well, you call up Maiden or Jimmy Page or, the big names that we all know.
Sure.
We thought, what? Well, eventually we'll get there. However, if we start with that and we have some success, we haven't proved anything, right? Because it could have been successful just because it's Jimmy Page. Anything we do with a big star like that, we might get a false positive, right?
Right.
So we looked at it and just said, we know musicians have their own little cliques and guitar players in particular have their own neighborhoods.
Sure.
And we thought, Randy Rhoads.
Mhm.
That would be the one. There's Randy Freaks, but it's, Randy's not the biggest rock star if you're going to just look at Variety magazine or whatever. So we thought that would be the good one. If we can have success with that, we think we got something. So
Okay.
I called the Rhodes family and actually spoke with Dolores at Musonia, the school there in Burbank that she taught up right until the time she passed away, and went and told them what we wanted to do. And said, the reason we're starting with Randy. And they said, yeah. And then the real fun begins. Now we have to do what we say. We have to make something cool, and we have to get it to people around the world a few thousand times.
Sure.
So that was it in 2003. So that's about the time we get comfortable putting our credit card into a web feed.
Right. Okay.
Sure.
Sure.
So all those things come together. We're like, this product, we're never going to be at Target or Walmart on an end cap. We don't care.
Right.
We're going to be a fan-focused, direct-to-consumer company. So now that is very cool and what you should do. Then it was very radical, and people thought we were stupid or crazy or both.
Right. Well, and that's the interesting thing to me. I'm going to go back a little bit to what you were saying. I agree with you 1,000%. Not that you need my agreement, but obviously you could do Ozzy, and it's Ozzy. People buy it because, look, I got a Lemmy whatever right here. I don't know who makes this or whatever. This is a Lemmy action figure. It's sold to me not because it was made by the company. It's sold to me because it's Lemmy, and there's a million others like that, and you have a large collection of that. But the one thing that I think Knucklebonz does better than anybody is the fact that you don't just focus on the artist. You have artist ones, but you also like the one that you have right behind you with the Angus riding on Brian Johnson's shoulders. That's an iconic moment. It's an iconic vision. It's a moment that you've captured, not just the artist. And I think you guys do that a lot. And I think that takes a lot of vision, and it takes a lot of vision to kind of think like your audience. And I think that's lost a lot in the creative game these days, is thinking like the audience. Do you agree?
Yeah. And the thing is, though, we're lucky around here because we don't have to think like the audience. We are the audience. We make stuff that we're pretty sure a few thousand people around the world are going to like this.
Sure.
And most of the time we're right. Now, are we super fans for everything we've ever created in 20 years? No, you can't. Can't be a super fan for everything. But
right.
Certainly have an appreciation for it, and know how we feel and how important the artists were for us growing up. And just every time we do something, remember that this artist that we're doing, there's few thousand people in the world, this is the most important thing to them. This defines them. This is what they tell their kids about. This is what they still put in and talk about. Mm-hmm. So we try to, every time we do something new, we try to remember that this artist right here is the most important artist in the world to a lot of people. So
sure,
that way.
Are there pieces on the market that when you envisioned it, when you and your team envisioned it, you had a vision, and then when it was produced, for whatever reason, it just didn't turn out the way you wanted it to be?
Every time.
Oh, every time. Okay. Why so?
Yeah, I haven't made something in 20 years where it gets to the end and I go, oh man.
So you have a sculptor that you work with? Is it you folks that do it right there, or as far as the original?
We do it here, and we have people around the world. My background's in fine arts and sculpting and animation, so I'm the designer and creative director. I don't sculpt much anymore. It's a young man's game. We don't function well as a company if I get to do the fun stuff. I get to do all the the business stuff.
Delegating, right?
Everybody else gets to have the fun. Sculpting is the pleasurable part, but we have people in Europe, people in China, just about every time zone. So it's a long day here. We're in California, San Francisco Bay Area, home of thrash.
There you go.
Right.
So we're up early because we got to catch people in Europe before they check out, and then about the time we're wanting to wind down, Asia's waking up, and they'll eat something. It's a long day.
Right on, man. It's interesting you'd say that about the business thing. I have a very similar. I own the 5th largest arcade in the country, pinball and video game arcade.
I'm a total pinball nerd.
Well, there you go.
We have to talk offline. Just pinball.
Well, absolutely. But I'll tell you what, all my guys that work with me or work for me, they all make fun of me because I am the absolute worst at pinball. I mean, I suck. I'm terrible at it. And my answer is probably the same as your answer is, which is the minute I get good at it is the minute we stop making money, because I got to worry about paying the bills, keeping the lights on, getting asses through the door. It's the same thing. You can either focus on the creative or you can focus on the money, but you can't do them both, or else the business will fail because it becomes a fan thing instead of a business thing. True?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm the creative director and designer, so I design everything, but the hands-on production, I try to not go down that rabbit hole because you can't do a good job at everything. So it's a balance. But we've got, great people on the team, and we're a small company. Everybody wears a lot of hats. We get a lot done with a few great people. But it's a business, and we're in the entertainment business, is what people that say, what do you do? And we're in the entertainment business. We're music merchandising.
Tony, can you give us any insight into which estates were more challenging to get permission from, or which corporations, or what have you?
It's easy. That conversation, even 10 years ago is different than it is today. Today, we're 20 years old. We're the only ones that have focused on music merchandising. So companies big and small typically know who we are, and
they know you'll do a good job.
What we do, and we don't mess around with artists' image and likeness and legacy. We do what we say.
Sure.
So we don't do much outbound licensing anymore. It's a lot of times it's the licensed bands and the talent will come to us, and it's a matter of us setting out a slate. We're not a huge company. We can only do so many projects a year.
Right.
We say we can make more money. We can't make more time. So we have to pick the products we think that fans really want to do the best. And
you don't want to do like a Jared from Subway or something. You don't want to waste your time on that.
We've been asked for so much, so much weird stuff. Hey, can you do this? Can you do that? I mean, I sometimes I don't think it's a joke. Like, this is real. They actually want us to, we do, right? So that the licensing part, while that is always a challenge, it's definitely easier today than it was,
in the beginning.
In the beginning, and the category has gotten bigger. 20 years ago, record labels still made money selling music, and artists merchandising was what the artists did to supplement not making a lot of money a lot of times selling music.
Sure.
So now it's come full circle, and the big companies, the Sonys, the Universals, they've all had to go back and pay a lot of money for the merchandising rights for all these bands.
Right.
So we'll work with the big companies, and then when we did King Diamond's project, we worked right with King and Livia, his wife. So we've worked any just about any company structure to get a project done. We've done over the 20 years.
Have you ever had anybody I'm not saying this is one at all, so I'll be clear in saying this is a hypothetical. Let's say somebody, let's say somebody like Dimebag. you know, you obviously have a great dime bag thing, and you've done the Pantera, which I gotta have, by the way, this one right here. I have to have this.
Yeah, let's look at some of the stuff from his
hold on a
site.
minute. Hold on a minute, Eric. We will. There's the dime bag right there. Let me put him back on full screen. Hold that back up. There he is. Look at that.
Reinventing the steel.
That thing is so sweet.
I don't know how well you see it.
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. It's amazing. That's an amazing piece. And
So
this
that's a dime. That was an interesting story. So a couple of times in the, like, you know, there's things that work in the universe. So I see Randy Rhoads in 1982 in Atlanta,
mm-hmm.
you know, for Ozzy on Diary of a Madman. Then they go to play Knoxville the next day, and then Randy's gone the following day. So
Right.
I mean, I still had the hangover from the show
Wow.
2 days before. So when we were the Dimebag statue, I was actually going to LA, and Zach Wilde was going to be at a photo shoot, and we were going to just do some photos for his statue. He was up next. And of course he was good friends with Dime, and he told him what he was doing, and Dime had said, "What? Wait a minute. You're getting a Guitar Hero statue ahead of me? What the hell?" You know, and so, like, what the hell's wrong with that? You need to. And so it was, we were gonna get introduced. So I see Damage Plan.
Okay.
You know, a week and before going to see Zach, and when I'm on the way to travel, fly early in the morning, I see the little news blurb on the TV that guitar player shot on stage.
Right.
And of course it's Dime. And I immediately thought back to 1982 because I had just seen it.
Right. Wow.
And it was a really strange feeling. So didn't know what to do, went to the airport, and then people got a hold of us, and you know, we knew what had happened, but I didn't know what to do.
Sure.
So we talked about it and said, you know, if the photo shoot goes on, you don't show up, you know, if they decide they want to soldier through it. But Zach was already in Dallas by then. So.
Okay. Wow. It's crazy.
Great, crazy, strange.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. I guess I'll go back to my question while we're in this down spot, but have you had anybody that has licensed anything changed because a member or that person that you've done a piece on passed away, where it goes from the artist making the decision to the family making the decision about the licensing of the image?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that happens. We've had situations where we've had a license and we're far along doing everything, you know, how we're supposed to. And an estate will occasionally have some hiccups with a band when somebody's no longer with us, and that will bite us. The Who set we did ended up just being
Roger.
Yeah. Where the Moon and Whistle Estates weren't working with the Who as licensees at that time, and that will happen, you know, a few times. We'll put out, you know, a lineup and there'll be somebody missing, and the fans will immediately, you know, take issue with that. Like,
right.
How dare you? It's like, guys, we asked the band, okay, who is the band? And this is the lineup they gave us. So if somebody's missing, no, we didn't forget them.
Right.
Hey, where's John and Whistle?
Yeah, and I mean that's a music thing, right? That's famous. Bands are always, you know,
mm-hmm.
in and out of love with each other, and there's always issues around the business. So we're no different. That does happen.
Now, Tony, let me ask: is the biggest selling one from the Kiss fans out there? That are always into such things.
Kiss is, I mean, it's almost like its own country.
Right.
I don't want to say we don't relate anything we do with Kiss, but it's just we know that the Kiss Army and fandom is there, and for over a decade we didn't bother doing any Kiss stuff.
Right.
We just thought, fans, they've got so much. Do they need us to do it? And the Kiss camp called us about, I guess, 8 years ago now, and just said, "What is wrong with you guys? Have you ever?"
Right.
Like, nothing. We just think, there's a lot of stuff out there, and a lot of it's really good.
Sure.
Do the fans really want us to do it? And the answer was, yeah, dummy.
Nice.
Right.
So yeah, we started, and we'll occasionally outsmart ourselves. Sometimes we will start with something that is something. We'll always try to pick something that somebody hasn't done, or something that try to give fans something different. So we started with the Love Gun era, which is cool. But you would think we would start with Alive or Destroyer. That would be the natural.
Right.
Thing.
Not Dress to Kill? You don't do Dress to Kill? With those old-timey 70s suits?
Yeah, with the suits, those are cool. I mean, the answer always, for Kiss is, are we going to do it? The answer is yes. It's just what order are we going to do stuff. Right. So breaking news here, the Destroyer set is up next for Kiss. Right,
that's the best one.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's when they take the production value, they were here when, with a lighted sign and some fog, and it goes there. I got to see that tour with opening act Bob Seger.
Wow.
Bullet Band.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
Back then you could have some wacky touring. It is not so much anymore. But you would get people you would think, what?
Rush opened up for them for a time.
Yeah, I mean, Ged and Gene are like best buds to this day. They're pretty tight.
Yeah, they did a lot of weird tours too. I have a poster on my wall that's Kiss with opening act Journey. So they did a lot of those oddball shows back then. Yeah,
and you just think the poor opening act. They probably got brutalized.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Kiss fans are so forgiving, right?
Right. No doubt. Well, Tony, one of our viewers wants to know about Van Halen. They'd love to see a Van Halen Knucklebonz. Is that?
So let me see. What can I say about Van Halen where I won't get into it, hurt anybody's feelings or get into trouble? So since the beginning of the company, maybe 2 or 3 years in. Remember, I said we're gonna start here. We're not gonna start. Got in contact with Eddie's management and would always get a thank you. Ed politely declines. So every year I'd have it on the calendar. About this time, as a matter of fact, every year it would be a different management group.
Right.
For Eddie in particular, and just polite no. All of a sudden, this is over a decade ago. I get this weird email from an AOL email account, and I'm like, what is this? And it's
it sounds like Piercy.
Hey, Tony, this is Ed. My manager didn't tell me about this statue thing that you want to do. Please call me. And I'm thinking, okay, who is this is a really clever troll job.
Yeah. EVH at AOL.
Somebody's really good. Yeah, it's signed.
Offer teacher 63 at AOL.
No, it's like the email was like PageMaster or something really odd.
Okay.
Yeah, but there was a phone number, so I'm like, okay, I'll play along. 310 blah 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 blah. And it's a voicemail, and I'm like, man, somebody's really gone to a lot of trouble. That sounded like Eddie Van Halen.
Wow.
And about 10 minutes later, Ed calls and says, hey, yeah, I just moved on from this management. I never saw this. This looks pretty cool. Do you still want to do it? And I'm like, Yeah.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, we do. And it was right before holiday time.
Okay.
And he said, "Hey, Wolfie's coming in for holidays. Can we catch up after Christmas?" And I said, "Absolutely."
Sure.
So call him after Christmas. No return calls. There's a new management group. Finally,
And
I get
that's
the Ed says thank you. He politely declines.
Oh,
So 2 years ago, the Ed's attorney at that time, he used to be the lead attorney for Fender guitar.
Okay.
So we go way back with Fender, and we all know each other. And he was doing legal stuff for Ed, and he calls and said, we're talking about this collectible stuff with Ed. I know you talked about it in the past. Would you consider doing it? And I said, of course. So we started working on it, and the thing is basically finished, but Ed passed away right as we were finishing it. So the Eddie one's done.
Okay.
But now with him passing away, now the estate has to resettle and everything. So we had to just put a pin in it.
Right.
So for us to go, there's no such thing as Van Halen management, right? It's a bunch of different.
Sure, it's all new people. It's
ever
Dave's
changing
people and Alex's people, and
right. So never say never, because we got the Sabbath set done with all the original guys.
sure.
It can happen at some point. It doesn't look like that's something we're going to be able to give you anytime soon, but
Right.
that's
But there's a chance, folks.
Know
There's a chance.
that we've got a beautiful design with Ed on one knee in front of the original stacks with the speaker bomb, like on the first tour,
Nice.
with the white guitar and the
Black stripes.
the nice bell bottom.
Nice.
Nice
Like
bell
a
bottom
77, 78 era, like that early era. Nice.
78. I was like, they opened for Sabbath when I first saw them on the Never Say Die tour. Like,
Sure.
I remember we're going there, and the record has just come out, and I'm talking shit on the way over there. It's all about this guy right here.
There you go.
We're not gonna hear, that's all studio shit. We're not gonna hear any of that Eruption shit live. They come out and they got about 35 minutes. And I mean, I love Van Halen, but Van Halen's not my favorite band, so I'm not like super fanboy.
Okay.
It might be the most amazing 35-minute set I ever saw. They were so good, it like hurt my feelings.
Nice.
It was like, God damn. I mean, Sabbath came out, and Sabbath at that time, I think if you talk to the Sabbath camp, they'll tell you that's not it. They're not performing at their highest. Van Halen, that's on their first national tour. But yeah, I can remember kind of being down a little bit because Van Halen was so goddamn good. Amazing.
Right. Dude, are there artists, and I know this from doing this, I've been interviewing and being a radio guy for like 20 some years. So I've met my heroes, the same as you. I've met them all, from Metallica to the smallest bands. I've met everybody I would ever want to meet. That being said, some of them I wish I hadn't. Some
better
of them
better to have heroes. Yeah.
Yes. For you, are there guys that you've worked with that you went into it completely pumped up, where you were like, I can't believe I'm working with blah blah blah, and then when you met them, they were just complete dicks and just a pain in the ass, didn't like their facial expression on the collectible, or didn't like the way the pants looked or the way the fingers hold the guitar, just were such pains in the ass that it really spoiled them for you?
We've been lucky, and typically when we've dealt directly with the artist and we haven't, had management in between,
Right.
the artists themselves have always been pretty pretty cool to
Okay.
vary. Artist management, people in between us and them can make things complicated at times. But what we say is, look, we've been doing this a long time. We're good at what we do.
Sure.
But we will take notes, and we will revise to the end of time until everybody's happy.
Okay.
And all we ask is, when you're giving us feedback, we're happy to make the change. The only thing I want to be able to say every time is, this change is making the piece better.
Sure.
That's all we ask. I don't care how small the revision is.
Right. So
I just want the piece to be getting better.
What is the process length on the average piece? Is it 3 months, a year? How long does it take from concept in your mind through talking and getting approvals to designing something to getting approval to getting it, for sale?
I mean, it can vary widely. If we know, okay, that we're doing the artist and we're doing this era, and it's going to be this costume and this guitar or whatever. So we've got that part out of the way, and we can dive right in on, okay, what's a pose, what's iconic from that era.
Sure.
You can be ready with something to show in as little as 2 or 3 weeks with a very finished statue design.
Okay. Wow.
It can be that fast, or it can be, we've missed 2 Christmases with some artists, which I won't mention.
One of them's not on the screen right now, is it?
No, not them.
Because I know the guy in the middle there has been known to be a little difficult about everything.
Gunners are angels. They have worked great with us. Slash had some changes that he wanted to do on these designs. Axel and Duff had no changes.
All right. Just because it's not on this one, why no hat on Slash? Yours is like the only one I think I've ever seen without the hat.
Well, because we've done this, what have we done? Two previous Slash statues, and they both had the hat.
Okay.
And just, when I say we're trying to do that live moment, if when you see, Guns, especially today, he wears the hat a really small part of the show.
Yeah, true.
He may come out in it, and he'll do some encore stuff in it.
I saw him at the airport once, and the TSA made him take his hat off, which I thought was like, you motherfuckers making shit. That's goddamn Slash right there. He's not going to take down the plane. But,
no, we talked about it, and I said, you know what? There's going to be people that say, "Where's the hat?" But I just like doing something different. As a collector, that's the piece that
I like it.
I wanted right there.
Looks
no,
awesome.
I love the way this is what, like 91, 92 era. Is
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
what you're going for? Yeah, that's the peak look. And for people that aren't old enough to remember, the most iconic part about the one that's on the screen right now is Axel's mic stand, because it was a visual piece of the show. It really was, and you captured that beautifully. It's so cool. With
the Mean Machine jersey.
Yep. It's too cool. Let's look through a couple more.
No, Guns, since they've gotten back together and touring, our dealings with them has been fantastic.
Okay.
Get back in a reasonable time. The nightmare for us is we've got something, and everything needs to be officially approved. We've sent it in. We say we think we're ready. Mm-hmm. And somebody just doesn't get back to us.
Right.
It's all engine stop. That's the one thing we don't have an answer for. If somebody just doesn't get back.
Sure.
That happened on the first Jimmy Page statues. We signed the license, and Jimmy was doing a lot of stuff for the rainforest and charities, and so he was in South America a lot. And he had said, I really want the Knucklebonz to see the poppy suit, which is the white dragon
Mhm.
suit. He calls that the poppy suit.
Okay.
I really want them to see it and photograph it. And we're like, well, hell yeah, of course. And it's like, okay, well, when do you want us there? Let us check with Jimmy. So, a year passes and we're dead in the water. And I finally just went to the management and said, guys, we're going to have to tear up this agreement, just come back to it when Jimmy's, a little more available.
Right.
Said, actually, I think he might be coming back next week. Let me check. And they got right back to us and said, can you be in London next week? Jimmy has the suit. Wants you to come.
It's at Aleister Crowley's house.
I don't know. Jimmy has 5. They told us he has 5 different properties right in London. So this particular house was one of his working houses. So we fly to England, and it's Ashley, my wife, the co-founder, and I, and we've got our photos set up, and he's hired a 6'1" female fashion model to model the suit. He was 6'1" with a 26-inch waist in 1970.
Jeez.
Rockstar chic.
Right.
So we have the meeting the night before. The management comes over and meets us at our hotel and is like, here's the rules for meeting Jimmy. And I'm like, oh God.
Right.
Here we go. Don't say this. Don't talk about this. Don't have to. I'm like, so basically don't talk to Jimmy and just take photos. No, that's not what we're saying. And I'm like, yeah, okay. This is so we just think this, and we're not sure if Jimmy's going to be there, but the suit's going to be there, and only one of you can go. And then they have to get up and go and take a call. And my wife was like, she actually needs the help with the production bit. She's like, oh my God, he came all this way, and I'm gonna go. I'm like, wait a minute, just don't say anything.
Husband and wife, come on.
I'm gonna fix this. So when I come back, and I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna be doing a live photo shoot with a live feed, and I'm gonna have to be posing the model to make sure they don't move, because every shot has to match to help the sculptor. And if this screws up, who here's going to take the blame? Because they're not going to be us. So you need to do what Ashley's going to do. Who's doing it? Let's call you right back. Hello. Yeah, all good. So it's okay. Well, give us the address. We'll see you there tomorrow. Well, we can't give you the address to Jimmy Page's house. We'll have a car pick you up.
What? Come on.
Fine.
Put a hood on your head.
Yeah, put a hood on your head.
So we're like, fine. And the meeting's 10 o'clock. Car shows up 9:30. Drives us to these townhomes not far off Piccadilly. And, they're nice. But I'm looking at them going, man, the back catalog's not doing that great. These houses don't look that. These don't look like Jimmy Page places to me. So they drop us off, and they're like, there it is. Okay. So on the cell phone, and we go in, and there's this townhouse, and there's some music posters around, and I call the manager, and I'm like, okay, we're here. He's like, well, where are you? Well, we're downstairs. We'll come upstairs. That's where we are. So we go upstairs, and there's like a secretary in an office, and I'm like, we're supposed to meet Jimmy Page and his manager. Looks at her like, Jimmy Page? What the hell?
Jeez.
So I call him back up and say, we're upstairs. It's like, you can't be upstairs. Tell me, look around. I'm like, okay, well, you got this Woodstock poster over here. But like, you're at Sanctuary Records. You're at the wrong place. You're late. It was your friggin' driver that dropped it down at the wrong place. So now they have to give us the address. And we're late. We're all stressed. So we go over to another set of townhomes that is like, okay, these are townhomes that look like aircraft hangars. This is Jimmy's neighborhood.
Right.
When we go in through the basement, there's a bunch of Marshall stuff laying around in the basement to go into the back. We're going up to the work area, and I hear him. I can hear him talking.
Nice.
So we go up, and Jimmy, the managers are trying to like be all handling and everything. Jimmy's like, get out of the way.
Right.
Super cool. Was super interested in all the details on how we were going to make it, because he's a production guy, right?
Sure.
So he had a ton of really like, I mean, like, I can't believe Jimmy Page actually wants to know this stuff.
Nice.
So a beautiful fashion model was there in the poppy suit. I've still got the stunning photographs from it. It was quite amazing. But yeah, we got to photograph the poppy suit, and Jimmy's known for being really particular. We got through both of Jimmy's projects flawlessly. Those are two of the best things that we've done in 20 years, I think.
Sure.
Well, so the poppy suit, like, is this like, because he has the dragon?
The
Is it
white,
like chase the dragon?
It's the white suit with the poppy and dragon on it. It's back. Can you see where I'm pointing? It's actually back.
It's off screen. It's off screen.
You want me to get it?
Yeah, get it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes,
we
we
that.
do.
Let's see what we got.
I was thinking like poppy seeds to make heroin, and then like a chase the dragon kind of fucking thing.
I don't think that's what it is.
I think so.
Well, yeah, see the side of the suit. That's the poppy.
There it is. Wow, that is cool.
So then the back is all that's embroidered. So we did super detailed.
Man, that is cool.
Photographs.
Nice.
That's all sculpted and then hand painted.
Wow.
So
It's got the 59 Les Paul and the
So that's
bow.
what is that? Is that the number? That's the number 2, right?
Right.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, the one is the more reddish one, I think.
Right. Dude, how much does eBay hurt your business? And what I mean by that is, I mean, you do astounding work and you set a price for it, and it's pretty reasonable, really. I mean, there definitely is some pieces that, you know, I want to buy that might be a little out of my range, but you know, that being said, you know, you pay for what you know, there's a value to it.
Mhm.
And I get that. But then you go to eBay and you see the same pieces for like $950 for a $200 piece. And again, this is just as a fan speaking, but if that's the first place somebody sees it, they think that everything you sell is that level too before they ever go to your website. And I think that actually probably hurts the collectibles, because people, you know, they kind of base off of what they see on eBay, which is the bigger, freer site to see the stuff. Does it hurt you, or do you not even look at that avenue?
No, we look at it because we're constantly looking for
Knockoffs.
chicanery.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
What we did 5 years ago, where pieces are sold out pieces are expensive. I don't have any specific data to say that hurts us.
Okay.
What I know is, you know, we're a super fan and collectors company.
Sure.
I know that the people who have, you know, continued to be with us for 20 years absolutely love that, because they know they've, you know, invested something and it's gone up in value. But again, it's the price of it is whatever the fans decide it is. We don't play in the secondary market really.
Okay.
But what I would say is distribution in the US is much different than it was 5 years ago. We sold through distributors in the US who would sell to smaller retailers who could do online stores and things like that. And what we found a practice was people would get a new piece and have an eBay store.
Mm-hmm.
And they would put one of our brand new pieces out there and they would do an auction for $1.
Okay.
Using our, you know, brand new, you know, super hot collectible as a loss leader to get people to their store.
Right.
And that's when we said no bueno to that. So 5 years ago, we cut everybody off in the US. If you buy something from Knucklebonz now in the United States, we are the sole source online.
Okay.
So if you're seeing something online and it's a new piece, you better read the fine print. That might not be as advertised.
Right. It's
that was because, you know, in that instance, people are just not doing the right thing, right? You got a high-end piece and somebody's just throwing it out there for a marketing goof.
I hope nobody steals Scully's image, Chris.
Yeah, well, I don't think Scully's going to have the same influence as the Knucklebonz pieces.
I don't
that's
know,
for
man.
Sure.
He's getting pretty popular.
Yeah, well, not quite that popular, but well, Tony, let me ask you this, man. Doing this, you're as aware as I am that there's just not new big rock stars coming up. There's just not, and I wish there were. There's a lot of great bands, but there's none that are super iconic.
You're not going to do a Wolfie Van Halen one?
If Wolfie calls us, we'll absolutely do that.
Do you worry that there's not going to be new, like would there be a kill switch?
I wouldn't say I'm worried about it. And this is what I know, that rock's doing just fine. And there's more talent and as much passion as there's ever been. The issue is, when we grew up, or certainly when I grew up, things were still curated, right? You had label system, and you went to a record store and you found out things virally, or you went and just saw an album cover and you bought records,
right?
Because the album looked cool. It wasn't getting played on the radio, and that's how you did things. So it was, and you just had less entertainment to choose from, right? So there's a better chance for just severe, fandom and reverence. But, the rock stars are there and they're as amazing as ever, but it's a goddamn fire hose. It's a lot of, we had the sprinkler for, in the yard, and we're drinking like that.
Right.
Everybody else is
right.
Here's all this amazing shit. How the hell do you find it? How do you create reverence for it?
Right.
It's just harder. But there's always going to be rock stars. I think they merge in different ways. I mean, a good example is Ghost. I know that band triggers some people. Not metal enough. Too metal.
They have a great image for figures,
but
though.
There's somebody that a band that struggled, and all of a sudden, 10 years ago that the pop emeritus thing hits, and now Ghost is one of our biggest sellers, and that's a band that's a decade old, and most of it, and think about it, we're a handmade piece of fine art. Generally, that's going to be, that might be the band that you listen to in your 20s, and now you're in your 30s. Right. And that's when it becomes something that we should probably get involved in.
Okay.
So I'm not worried, because there's amazing, cool stuff. My daughters are 18 and 20, so they'll bring me stuff to check out, and I'll be like, that's badass. But yeah, I mean, it's maybe 10 years removed. Think of it that way. When we first started, Slipknot was the new metal oddity, and now they're it's classic rock now.
Right.
Crazy.
Right.
So I think it's evergreen, and as the rock metal genre, it's like this, right? It's steady. We're not going anywhere. We don't get those huge spikes that pop and other musical genres get, but we also don't get the valleys. It's never going to go away. We're metal hard rock heads are super stubborn. They're going to make sure, right?
Right. And metal people, more than anybody else, want to support the art. They want to support.
They're underserved. And I mean, that's the reason Knucklebonz, that was our thinking. There are fan bases that are underserved. Who's going to take a crack at this other than Knucklebonz right here?
Nice.
Wow.
Epicus, Doomicus, Metallicus.
That's awesome.
Candlemass just came through here, and it's the first time I've been out to a show in a smaller venue.
Sure.
And there was some full-on thuggery down front, and the pit was super active. It was awesome.
Right.
Nice. You still get in there and do it? I haven't tried that since I was a teenager. It's dangerous.
I'm talking big shit. I was up on a balcony. I had a I was taken care of by Candlemass. I wanted to, but I thought.
Yeah, you were amused just watching it from up above.
Well, that's the thing. I'm from above, so I'm like got the telestrator out, saying,
Yep.
"Okay, oh, that was an amazing move." And for the most part, there was a thuggery, but rules were upheld. Rule number 1: somebody falls down, help their ass
Come
up.
up. Yeah.
Rule number 1.
Yeah, but rule number 2 is once you pass 40, you don't recover from the pit like you did when you were 20.
Somebody can't help you up. You're down for the count.
I know. I'll tell you both this story real quick. 10 years ago, I know for a fact it was 10 years ago. I was at a Seven Dust. It was Seven Dust and a Reunited Coal Chamber show. And I just decided, okay, I hadn't been in the pit in a while. I was going to get back in the pit. Got back in the pit for Seven Dust. I got knocked to the floor and I hit the floor so hard. I don't think I've ever been hit harder by anything in my life. And I just was like, this is my last time I'm ever going to be in the pit. I came out, my whole leg was black and blue. I was like, I think I've passed the point. I'm too old for this now. And I hate it because I want to get in. It's like the mind wants it, but the body sure don't.
It was funny. The kids, the daughters are down in LA, and so they were here in San Francisco, and that we got them in the show in LA, and they were they're making old people jokes.
Yeah, right.
And I said I'm gonna tell you now, you just think it through. If you want to be, don't get near the front.
Yeah.
And they didn't listen, and it was apparently even more carnage than here. They retreat.
Yeah, right.
It was like, Dad, there was nowhere to go. I'm like, that's
It
what
was a sea of bodies.
That's it. You get in a venue like that, and the blood hits the water.
That's right.
The bodies were hitting the floor, Dad.
Let the bodies hit the float. And they were like, Dad, was that what it's like in the day? And I'm like, you're in the day. That you just went to a doom metal show. That's what they're like. Oh my God.
And the crazy thing is, living where you are, as crazy as that may have been, that doesn't touch an Exodus show at Ruthie's in 1989 or whatever.
God no. God no. I mean, this was the the cross training CrossFit version of it.
Right.
But yeah, the bands and the crowd, everything was faster.
Oh yeah.
I would always be the one that like somebody would go over the top, and I'd get like the like fluke injury of getting kicked in the ear, like right at the beginning. So you have an injury, you have to fight through the rest of the show.
Nice. Yeah.
So Raging Slab opened for Megadeth.
Okay.
And the Raging Slab people were there early, and it was like, wow, this is a supporting band. A lot of support, a lot of people who are early, and somebody goes over the top, boots me right in the side of the friggin' head, and my ear had a heartbeat the rest of the show.
Man, I used to live out there in the glory days. I lived out there I was in the military, so I was there from 88 to 92. I was stationed at Fort Ord, so I used to every weekend. Yeah. So every single weekend for me was driving up to San Francisco, and it was either Ruthie's Inn, the Omni, the Stone, whatever, and it didn't matter what was coming. It just was like
War at the Warfield, all those places, and you would go. I would go anyway. I didn't even care. Truthfully, I didn't know the bands that I was seeing. It could be the Cosmic Cowboys, or it could be the organization, which was Death Angel, basically with a different singer. And it was like, who cares? They're from right over here in the East Bay.
Yeah, and I used to love that scene. And you try to explain that to people now, they just don't get it. They just don't when you tell them that Exodus was a bigger band than Metallica, nobody even believes it. They're just like, no, that can't be. And it's like, yes, they were.
That's the one that you think, what there's something wrong with the cosmos, because I mean,
Yeah.
that one, why does one happen and one doesn't? You know,
There's a parallel universe somewhere where the Toxic Waltz is the number one song.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it really was. I mean, back then, it's so
that
weird.
Metal Church is another one that I think, man, that's just underrated. You know.
Yeah. Well, the only reason Metal Church, I believe, the only reason Metal Church didn't break out was because they were further north. Because they were from Seattle or Washington area. And if they would have just moved, to San Francisco, they might have been the biggest band to come out of the whole scene, because they not only were they great as a metal band, but they had almost that Skid Row-y sort of ballads, but better, harder, better, Gods of Wrath, or, Let Us Pray, Let's Watch the Children Pray.
I bought that record, the Metal Church one with the
Metal Church.
Or
yeah.
Ton of Bricks.
I mean, they were so good. I agree with you. Metal Church, another one that could have, but there's always those bands. I think we all probably have that band that we look at and are like, how is this band? I always point to Skin Lab. How did Machine Head get to be a giant band? And Skin Lab, that was arguably a better band. Most people that are listening even today are like, who are they?
Do a whole show on those bands that are like, man, I'd love to just, why did it go down?
Yep.
Sacred Reich, another one.
Sacred Reich's another one, yeah.
That just, God, why didn't people get the joke in the ass? I saw them open for Pantera. Another injury, 30 seconds in the pit. Somebody comes over the top, kicks me right in the goddamn eye.
Jesus.
Earache my eye.
I'm like 20 whatever. I'm like, is it ever gonna get better?
Now you had a Cheech and Chong one. I just dropped a earache my eye joke in there. I thought that was a good segue to your Cheech and Chong's. Pretty cool too.
Pantera is a good one for getting injured, though. I got hurt at a Pantera. It was Pantera, Sepultura, and Biohazard on.
I saw that. I saw that tour.
And
that was
brutal.
So
and I was down in the mosh pit just crushing until somebody just came off and landed right square on top of my head and just compacted my spine. And I was like, oh God, kill me.
Yeah, that's somebody going over the top. It's always the punch you don't see.
Yep.
You see them coming, that's fine. But they come from back here.
Yeah.
Oh bueno. With that one, that show we were lucky because I saw them in Virginia, which is like a big swamp.
Okay.
And it was like 95 with 112% humidity. So it was so friggin' hot. The thuggery, by the time Pantera got there, people were kind of worn out.
Right. Nice.
So happily moshing.
Right. Exactly. Well, Tony, this has been a lot of fun, man. I'd love to have you come back on at some time just to shoot the shit about metal. Not even about.
We should do it. Let's pick a time when we're gonna announce something new. We'll broadcast it. We'll bust a move on it live here.
Absolutely, man. Dude, doors always open. We're on every Monday, 8 to 10 Eastern. The door's open for you whenever you want to do it, even if you don't want to promote something. If you just want to come on and shoot the shit about or whatever.
We're here in the silo. We're just at it all the time.
Sure.
Trying to get all the stuff that we've got on plate to the fans. And it reminds me I don't get to just shoot the shit about music and metal and everything. We're kind of inoculated from it here. We're just so damn busy. It's nice just to shoot the shit as a
yeah. Very cool. Well, Tony, obviously, man, we do want to tell people, go over to Knucklebonz, knucklebonz.com, correct?
That's right.
And
Knuckle like your hand, B-O-N-Z.
B-O-N-Z, like the guy from Stuck Mojo, Bones. That Bones. And you guys have been more than gracious enough to give us a little code that I will put in the description of the video for 10% off for the next 2 weeks. So if you guys want to buy something, that's a pretty good amount of savings on some of these pieces. And even if it's not a big savings on some of the other pieces.
That's like no tax.
Yeah, it's like no tax. That's perfect.
Free shipping.
And let's be honest, free shipping. And if you could have this on your table, I mean, come on, look at that thing. That's the one I'm buying.
That one right there to design was a chore.
How bad?
Because it's the perspective is cheated, and what can you actually see in the way that is done, and to get it to where it was a good 3D vinyl piece, it took some doing, but we're real happy with it.
Well, I can tell you for a fact, you're going to be even happier when my $155 shows up, because I'm for sure buying this piece. When I saw it on your website, I was like, gotta have 100% have to have that piece. So
let me ask you this. So we've done with Pantera. So we've done Vulgar Display.
Mm-hmm.
Did that one for 3D
Right.
vinyl. We've done the Cowboys from Hell era, Reinventing the Steel set, and we've done Far Beyond Driven. What would you like us to see us to do for Pantera?
I would honestly, if I was going to do a Pantera one, I would like to see just if you could find the imagery, and I don't know the process real well, but if you could find the imagery from the 1990, but the very specific, the Russia shows, where they were all at their leanest and their meanest, and Phil had the mohawk, the longer mohawk going, and I mean, they were just intense.
So that's Cowboys.
That's Cowboys era.
That's Cowboys era. So we did the Cowboys set. So there's a Phil. The problem is it's sold out now, but
right.
That Phil with where he still had the mohawk.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he shaves it for the Vulgar Display era.
Right.
How about that? Would you like the Southern Trendkill Snake?
Oh my God, yes.
The Red Snake.
That's my favorite album of the Pantera era. Is Great Southern Trendkill. Oh yeah, I love it. It's so heavy. It's such a heavy, meaty record. Oh yes,
super dark and heavy.
Yeah, and they had Seth from Anal Cunt, doing all the screams on the album and stuff. Hell yes, the heavier the better for me. I love you can't make it extreme enough for me. So, that's by far my favorite. And even watching Pantera today, I mean, I don't know if you can see it, but my background is the current Pantera tour.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I mean, they've done such a nice job, even with the staging, with the snake, and to really capture that.
Have you got to see one of the shows?
I'm going. The first one that's coming even near me is in July, but I'm going July, like one night in Pittsburgh and then the next night in Indy. So, and then I'm going again in November for the Metallica tour. I'm going to go see it with Metallica as well. So I'm very pumped to see the Pantera.
you never know when it's going to get taken away. Get out there and the bands.
Would you consider doing, and this might be the blasphemy that might cause the company problems, would you do a current Pantera with Charlie and Zach?
If Pantera wanted us to do it, absolutely.
Sure. Would you want to do it?
Yeah, I'm a Pantera fan.
Okay.
So for us, if the camp comes and says this is Pantera,
then it's Pantera.
Then it's Pantera, and like I say, all we need is a few thousand people around the world to agree with us. It's never something that's going to be mass produced.
Right.
That would be perfect.
Right.
But that would be something they would come to us and say they want to do. As we would.
Sure.
We wouldn't presume there.
Absolutely. Well, Tony, this has been a lot of fun, man. One more time, knucklebonz.com. The collectibles are fantastic. Make sure you go over there, check them out, buy yourself one. If you're any kind of a collector and you love this kind of music, there should be something there that you love. And Tony, thanks so much for joining us here on CHRIS Akin Presents.
Guys, my pleasure. Speak to you soon.
All right, brother. Take care, man.
All right, bye.
All right, see ya. All right, Eric, how was
Awesome,
that?
Man. That was even more fun than I anticipated.
That was a lot of fun, and I'm definitely going to reach back out to Tony and just have him on to shoot the shit about metal some night.
My favorite was the hearing the Jimmy Page going to Jimmy
Oh.
Page's house and all that was pretty top notch.
Dude, those are the kind of stories. See, this is why I like those kind of interviews, because it's not just the standard, hey, we have a record, we produced at XYZ Studios, and
Right.
you know, I recorded my guitar, you know, and those are fine too. But I love hearing that kind of backstage stuff. And you know, he's the perfect guy because he's in the business, but he's not necessarily influenced by the business. Like his business is almost separate from the business, but it's still in the business, where you get a lot of that. And how funny was that story he told about they wouldn't tell him the fucking address?
Right. It's 666
Yeah.
Aleister Crowley Way.
All right, put the bag over your head and spin around 20 times till you're dizzy so you don't know where you're going.
Boy, come over here and model the poppy suit.
Yeah, Jesus.
The poppy suit. Hey, poppy.
Yeah,
I think
no kidding.
I think it has to do with heroin, personally. And that's
Well,
a poppy.
maybe.
Poppy.
Yeah, it is. It
plant,
probably is
right?
heroin.
It is. He's
Probably
chasing
is
the dragon.
heroin.
Oh, that one had the poppies on, not a dragon. Or did it? It had a dragon on the bell.
It had dragon on it too.
Yeah,
I
he's
think, so.
chasing the dragon, right?
Yeah.
You're
Mhm.
running after the dragon. It's on your
That's
leg.
right.
It's all right there, guys.
Nice.
But you know, you kind of bummed me out when you thought that Scully wasn't worthy of his own.
I don't think he's established enough yet, Eric. That's all I'm saying.
Well, maybe he needs to stop by and say, hey.
Well, look, here he is. He's here right now.
Oh,
Welcome back, Mr. Akin, you son of a bitch.
Thank you,
Where have
Scully.
you been?
I've
I
been
haven't
right
seen
here.
you for weeks. I know it's
Right
not
here.
because I spiked your bulgogi again. You missed bulgogi night 2 weeks in a row now.
Damn it.
How are you, buddy?
I'm good.
We've missed you.
Well, I tried to get on, but my leg swelled up.
What? Your legs swelled up? Have you been eating too much salt?
I guess so.
Lay off the cum chum, buddy.
I'm not doing that. That's Eric's thing.
Well, I won't keep you long. I thought you'd enjoy seeing some footage from my nephew's new job. He's helping to fix the beach over at your co-host pad at Beach Mansion West. Thought you
Well,
could
thank
show it
you.
to him, and then we could talk some other time.
All right,
Have
Scully.
a great show, boys.
Bye, Scully.
Bye, Scully.
Scully Sandigger.
Scully checking in.
That's
I'm glad he's
awesome.
concerned about my health. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. He doesn't want you having too much salt, man.
No,
I-
not at all.
Again, you know, we discussed because I looked how salty the cum chum soy sauce is because it is
Right.
bulgogi night tonight again.
Oh,
Seems like
good.
Monday nights we go for that.
You like the bulgogi, huh?
We like it, but the salt, the sodium, you know, when they show you on the back of the bottle, it's per serving, whatever a serving is,
Jesus.
right? It says it's 55% sodium, and then you look at how many.
Per teaspoon.
It was 1,240 grams of salt
Oh my God.
in one serving, and I was like, "Oh, that's some cummy cum chum."
Do you have to shake it up? If you don't shake it up, does it gather on the bottom?
You would think, man. The bottle's pretty dark though,
Oh,
so I can't
Nice.
see. But she's making that. She's
Nice.
supposed to be. Susan's supposed to be making that.
well, take
right now.
a smell. You don't smell it?
Well, I don't know. Do you smell this?
There it is.
Stinky feet, stinky feet.
There it is.
Give me something good to eat.
Yeah, like bulgogi.
Did you see now Scully Sandigger, you know what he was talking about was my beautiful view that everybody's so jealous of wasn't so beautiful lately because some sand diggers are out there
Yeah, I saw that. Let me.
on the beach and it's disrupting my view. But as I was mentioning on earlier episodes of the show, our weather's been really crappy out here. In
Really?
sunny San Diego hasn't been sunny at all. In fact, it's been I feel like it's been 4 months of gloomy shit weather. And I'm starting to wonder if Bill Gates, I heard him talking about how they're trying to block out the sun or something. And I feel like
Right.
they've achieved it because there's no way San Diego could have that many not sunny days. And, we had these storms that basically ravaged the beach in front of our place. So all the sand had moved off the beach. It was like no longer sand on the beach. It was just like these rocks, which some were cool, but you can't walk on that shit. And
No.
yeah, it's like, no, it wasn't very conducive to beaching. You know, the surfers would still go out there, but it was sketchy. I've been going out just to find, you know, sea glass and cool rocks and stuff, but
Right.
they ended up bringing some sand diggers in there.
Sand diggers.
That's right. Sand diggers. And oh, there we go.
Look at this. Wow, that isn't all. They are wrecking your view.
Right. Now it's kind of interesting. Now, what's happening here is we have a harbor that's like to the right, the Oceanside Harbor. And once a year, they actually bring these pipes out and they dredge that harbor.
Okay.
But all the crap stuff, all the oil from the boats, all the people that, you know, whatever the hell they dump in there,
Right.
They dredge it all out and bring it over to here. And so they had a huge pipe that's been going like for like the last 3 days straight, just dredging everything. But what's trippy is they kind of like changed the whole coastline in the last 2 days. They've like, you know, where it looked like the beach used to come right up to where that lifeguard tower is. Like now, look, they've set it out. It's like an island out there.
Wow.
But you can see how shitty the weather's been, man. It's like
Poor
I don't
baby.
even wanna- yeah.
Yeah, I feel real bad for you. Like I said, it was 80 degrees here yesterday. Today it was snowing. I don't want to hear about your fucking. Well, it's all the way down to 65 and it rained a little.
Right.
I'm not feeling it for you.
It's been like 59 degrees, 50 degrees.
Oh.
I mean, that's brutal for here.
Poor baby.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to tolerate it for a whole 6 days before you go to fucking Tucson where it's 85 and sunny.
I'm like ready to go to Haiti on this, which I never thought in my life I'd say. But the weather's been so shitty in San Diego. I'm ready to go to Haiti, dude. And whatever's there for us.
Hell yeah. Well, dude, this has been a fun show. And I'm happy to report my arm's not falling off. So that's good. So it's like,
can you do this? Come on, Chris. Come on. Yeah.
I'm in there. It's working. Things are working a little. Still not 100%, but I'm certainly, with Scully's encouragement, I'm going to keep getting better.
That's right. Stay off the salt, as Scully suggested.
Dude, I hate I hate to get all serious for a minute, but in my 3 trips to the emergency room last week, I just got fed up with my blood pressure being high, which it wasn't high. Like for regular people, it's not high. For me, it was high. It was 143 by 87, little high. Not
right. It's a little high.
Not 210 by 110 or something, you know, not.
It wasn't 120 over 80.
No, it was not the 120 over 70 that I usually am. That's for sure. And admittedly, I was in a shit ton of pain, which probably had something to do with it. But I decided last week, and I've honored it to this point, that I'm not going to eat red meat for 30 days. I'm just eating chicken and fish. I'm fish and chicken and fish every day, eating a lot of
cows
salmon.
Everywhere sighing in relief right now.
Yes, exactly. The fat guy's going to lose some weight by eating cleaner, been eating salads without dressing. You know, I'm really kind of
good to hear, man. We need you around. You can't be
Yeah.
checking out early. We got a show to bring up.
Hell
you
yeah.
know, here, CHRIS Akin Presents. It's just getting started. You can't be checking out.
Yeah,
now.
I ain't checking. I ain't going anywhere. I'll tell you the one thing that does suck, though, and something that I did find out that's not good. Because of the burn accident from all them years ago, in conjunction with the COVID from a year and a half ago, I've lost they said I've lost 11% of functionality in my lungs. And that's permanent loss. So, because they kept saying to me, is there any reason why your oxygen level is like 92%? And I was like, no, you know, I feel fine. I'm breathing. I feel normal. And they said that from the scans that I did, they could see the tops of my lungs have always been damaged since the burn accident anyway.
Okay. Right.
You know, because it's called chemosis, and I won't get too tacky into that, but basically I was in a room, the fucking furnace blew up, and I breathed in 400
blast.
degree, a 400-degree blast down my shit into my lungs.
I do that every time I'm cooking, man, and I have the oven set to 400. I go to Susan. It got me again. The heat blast.
I think it's a little different. I think it's a touch different. I think you catching some steam.
I keep forgetting that it does it. And I'm like, because I'm checking on my chicken every couple minutes, and I'm like, God damn it, the heat blast!
Yeah,
it got me again.
Try it times like 400 degrees hotter than what you're breathing in, and just breathing it in, and it just burned. It burned the insides of my lungs. So I've had that damage for a while anyway, for 28 years or whatever. But the COVID. When I had the COVID, it fucked up my lungs a little bit to where it's like some permanent damage to the already damaged. So they're like, yeah, you're never going to get back to 100%. And they were like, you're never going to be able, because I asked them, I said, what does this mean? They're like, well, nothing unless you get really active. I was like, no threat there. But,
right. Well, there is a threat. Most of people, anybody who got vaxxed needs to be careful being really active, But I think all of us deserve some money. I think that they should seize all of Bill Gates' money, all of Anthony Fauci's money, Peter Daszak, all those guys, get all their money and then start making the claims, man. And you're one of them. Hey, you took 10% of my fucking lung function, you motherfucker. Yeah. And then and see what that's worth. You know what I mean? Like, how's he walking around right now? He should be in jail with fucking with Terminator and Exploder.
With Terminator and Exploder. That's right, SA.
I awake, I don't know.
All right, let's get the fuck out of here. We actually did an extra half hour of show tonight.
We did that for you guys. We're sorry that Chris wasn't up to the last show, but we're
all good.
We're in it to win it, and please, we hope you enjoy the show. Make sure you go and hit that subscribe button.
Yeah.
Below, we're trying to get to 1,000, so we get monetized, get pushed all over the world.
Even if you're not watching on Chris Akin Presents on YouTube, go to Chris Akin Presents on YouTube. One word, Chris Akin Presents. It's right here. You can even see how to spell it. It's at the top. You can see how to spell it, but no spaces. Chris Akin Presents. And make sure you subscribe. We're like 300 people away from getting to 1,000, which is what we want to get to. Once we get to 1,000, we can do a lot more shit. So get to doing that. That would be your best way to help us, and we would appreciate it. We will be back next week. I don't have any guests booked this week yet. I don't know that we may not have any booked this week. I was thinking maybe, since I don't have anybody pushing my buttons to come on, I thought maybe me and you would throw some ideas of movies and shit back and forth and do a movie night instead of an interview night. I thought maybe we could talk about some movies and just kind of kick it old school. Chris Akin Presents, not a brand new show, and we're already talking about old school, but
I'd love that.
I think that's what we need to do. So as of right now, unless something fairly big pops up, there will not be any guests next week. Just me and Erik shooting the shit about everything and anything that we come up with.
I'll let you know how the Tucson show was. It's going to be easy money for me. We only have to play for 30 minutes, man.
Perfect. That's
Thank you.
There you go. All right. So we will do that. And let me get to the right screen here so I can play the out. And that's going to do it. So for Chris Akin Presents, I am Chris Akin.
And I'm Erik Ferentinos. Yeah.